more than happy with who I got to replace. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Who we have? We got Edie Lowe in the building. How are you, friend?
Hey, good. How are you?
Quite well. Let's go ahead, and we also have, we got Miss Carrie Smith in the house. How are you, young lady?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on through. And I also got my good friend, my good sister from another Mr. Quisha King in the building. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And then, of course, we got Celeste Duffy in the house. How are you, love?
I'm good. Thank you. Excited to be here.
Well, thank y'all for coming on. Now, I wanted to have this conversation because I found a video that I found super interesting. I thought it was great. And I said, but I really want to hear what women who subscribe to the same faith system as I, who are believers in Christ, how they would approach some of these topics. They might still land in the exact same spot, because I don't think that the woman's critique was off at all. I just want to hear a little bit more of what you all would think about that topic. So if you're wondering, the link is down in the description to the video that we're going to be watching. Shout out to Dee Dee's Reactions. Fantastic content creator. And I just wanted to give these young ladies an opportunity to kind of tease it out a little bit, talk a little bit more about it, and give their insights. So if the mods could also do me a favor, if you could just make sure that we drop these young ladies' YouTube channels as well as their their Twitter accounts, that would be great help. And of course, at the end, I'll give you all an opportunity as well to make sure that your all your different handles and such like that are found so that people can find you, because I know they're gonna want to hang out with you. That's what I do. So why not? Why would they not want to? All right, ladies. Before we get started, do you have anything you want to give an opening salvo, if you will, about feminism and your thoughts pertaining to it before we jump in and knee deep into this?
I think it was a mistake.
Okay.
The current wave. Yeah.
Do you think, okay, well, let me ask a question. Do you think, what is it, third wave feminism? Is that what it is? We're on the third or fourth iteration. Do you think it should have been hard stop after second wave? They should have stopped. Is that what you think? Or do you think it was a natural, there's no way to stop it after it started? What do you think?
Go ahead.
I think a lot of the stuff that we think of as second wave at that time, I think we're probably thinking of the push for women to, get out of the home and start going to school at the same rates as men and having careers at the same rates as men. But behind the scenes, in terms of feminist theory, a lot of the most toxic parts of what is known as feminist theory came about during the second wave. So I don't know. It's hard to answer, because I think a lot of the really destructive ideas about destroying the concept of gender or biological sex and destroying the family and things like that, those came about in academia anyway during the second wave.
Yeah, I think the second wave in theory was certainly terrible, but in practice, third wave has been the most destructive so far.
Yeah, no argument for me.
I'm a little radical, probably. I don't like any of it. I didn't like the first. I don't like. And here's why: because it didn't start in. It wasn't a honest endeavor in the first place. The people who started this stuff, it was Victoria Woodall, and there was some. I forget the characters, but they were involved with the occult.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of wickedness that propelled even just the idea of feminism itself, the woman, sort of throwing off the chains of tradition, and we're going to be more the root of it started not from anything good. It didn't start from anything, from truth. It started really from just a bunch of occultists.
Rebellion.
Yeah, rebellion. And so that's why I understand the sentiment, of women, having a voice. But when you look back and you kind of dig into this, just like today, we see many people who, it was a few voices that were pushing this. It wasn't the masses. There were many women who were I am completely and totally fine with my husband handling all of that stuff. I really am just happy being at home with my children and my husband, like taking care of my family. I'm really happy here. And guess what? Most women are, because it's our natural place where we do well. Like the home is like where we shine, darling.
Yes.
And it's like, we were like, no, thank you. Let's go and try to do what the men do, where we suck. And I'm like, you know, I want to shine. I like sparkles. I love all that stuff. So I would much prefer to shine than try to go compete and do all that like aggressive, all that other kind of stuff. So I'm much more, I would rather be how God designed it. I just find that it's better that way.
Okay.
Amen.
All right. I can rock with that. I can rock with that.
Well,
So let's
to
go
your
ahead.
point, just very quickly, I forgot, Quisha, that Margaret Sanger technically was first wave. So that was first wave feminism.
Oh no!
She
Oh,
was
never mind. Yeah.
a proponent of eugenics.
Really?
And
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have thought that'd have been second. Like that's first wave.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay.
first
Yeah, I got it.
wave
Okay.
was- we think it's like ancient. It's really not. It's a relatively new concept. You know, we got to remember America's only 250 years old, barely.
Correct. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's a new concept rooted in ancient deception.
yes,
first
it's a new
deception.
concept for the
Yeah.
West, old for the rebellious.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then Quisha, you're not alone. Then I'm with you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's get into it. Just let me know. I'll be your DJ tonight. Y'all just let me know when you want me to stop. Let's bring it in.
What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Dee Dee. Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all so much for tuning in once again. So I am back with another reaction video for you guys. So in this clip, we have women who are finally waking up to the lies of feminism. But is it too late? There are some women out here who realize they've been duped and that they've been lied and forced into a independent situation that they were not prepared for. But do men see them the same? Are men willing to work with women now that some women are realizing the situation that they put themselves in? Y'all let me know. Or have men moved on and they're never looking back? Oh my God. Here we go.
I didn't.
Okay. Anything on her opening you want to add, or you want to just let it roll?
Well, I was just like forced. I don't know, forced, maybe deceived into this stuff. I don't think forced is the right word.
right.
I like to
That
see.
kind of caught my ear.
There we go. Okay. All right. Here it comes. And again, y'all can flag me down.
Not know that the feminist rhetoric had gotten so bad, like it's so far gone, to the point where it has convinced you ladies that motherhood is not even worth doing. Wow, that's crazy. Do y'all know it's women out here who can't even have kids? It's women out here who's like literally at the church altar praying on their knees every day to bear a child. But then you have women in the same world who have opted out because they say, oh, it's a sacrifice. I don't want to give up this and give up that. Like, you know, we weren't put here to live for ourselves, right? Like, this is insane. Feminism, it's ooh boy.
So is it just
What you think, Carrie?
I'm just thinking about how a lot of this is self-fulfilling prophecy. And I was pulling up a chart for you for later, but women are, so when I was in college, I took women's studies was my minor, which messed me up
Really?
in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
wow.
And before I got to college, I had never been exposed to what the feminist part of, or any part of woke ideology, what I call woke, which is like feminist theory, critical race theory, queer theory, all these different identity theories, right? And I had never been exposed to that. And it wasn't until college that I started considering myself a victim and this sort of victim mentality. And if you look at studies in the 1950s, I think that's when Betty Friedan's book came out. We had to read that book as part of my women's studies minor. It was called The Feminine Mystique. And in that book, she talks about how there's this problem that has no name. We can't speak of it, but basically women across America in the 50s, she said, are unhappy. They have this malaise about them. And the answer is, we want to move into the workforce en masse, basically. And if you look at the rates of women's satisfaction now, you cut to the year 2025, and it's been on a steady decline since the 50s. So whether it doesn't matter what your intended results are, you have to also look at what the consequences are. And I think sometimes people on the left, I know I did this, only thought about like, well, this is what we intend to happen, and never could deal with like the actual consequences, like whether it's the consequences of what you vote for or what policy you vote for or some kind of social movement like that.
So I don't actually think that we are getting unintended consequences. I think that the despair that women feel right now is in fact the intended consequence, because if you really look at the inception of how this social movement came to be, this was first of all the brainchild of men, and it was the brainchild of people of high industrialists and big capitalists. So if you go to like the Carnegie Foundation, you go to the Ford Foundation, you find that for as late as or early as the late 19th century, early 20th century, the industrialists were having a problem. And the problem was that they were trying to determine how to cut the unit cost of labor. Yeah. And what they did and what they decided to do, they wanted to have women enter the workforce because that was a twofold win. On one, they could cut the unit cost of labor by making a man's wages go in half. And the second win was they would now bring in an entire taxable class, a class of people that, therefore, heretofore was untaxable. So they couldn't figure out how to do it because the problem with women was they could not separate women from children. So they were like, we can't bring women into the workforce. So because, women have to take care of the children. So they came up with the brainchild of compulsory schooling, a place where they advertised that people needed to put their children so that now they could have access to women who they previously could have no access to. So I don't think, I think Quisha was right. This did not start from good means, but I think one thing that we have to always remember was not only was this, the intention of this was always bad. It was never good. Certainly it was advertised and sold, and it was a campaign with all types of altruistic slogans, as they all are. But these are not organic social movements. I am of the belief that none of the social movements in the 19th and 20th century in this country are organic. They all have a root, and most of their roots are not good. So what we are now living is the bad outcomes that were intended for us to live.
Celeste, the older I get, the more I'm starting to see things that the way that you do, because I recently realized like the stuff that we're seeing around us right now, right? The ICE protests, all this, I know that's not organic, but I still tend to think of like, what did you describe it as, the social movements of the past. I sometimes still tend to think of those as organic, and it's probably not. You're probably right. And it's just like the movements today.
Well, because we talk about them in terms of people. And so that makes sense. And we see the people on the ground, their motivations. We can look at the political context in which all of these things are happening. What is rarely ever known and discussed is two things. One, the inception, and two, the funding. Those are always the two things that are never, ever really known. And those are the things that would let you know if it was organic, if this was a grassroots, they use that term all the time. You can't have anything grassroots in 48 hours. Every 2,000 people can all have the exact same sign, same outfit, know to wear the same color, got the same email. There's nothing grassroots about that. There's nothing grassroots about that. But they are expert in sort of portraying, and I suppose this is their expertise in media and in psychology, is because they portray that. That's the story they tell us about ourselves, and then we believe it. But it's not true.
I got you. Woo. All right, let's keep this game a rolling. We got some more. Let's go.
To me, or does everything in society feel for women like OF? Like corporate America feels like OF. Social media feels like OF. Literally, I think everything in society feels like OF, except for having a man that actually loves and appreciates you, wants to marry you, have kids with you. Because it's like you're constantly giving yourself to people who don't care about you. They're using your mind, your body, your spirit, like your literal gifts from God for their purpose, to line their pockets and make more money. It's like you're entertainment for everyone all the time, but you never get anything back. It's like you're performing constantly. Like a lot of girls, I hear them talk about they don't want to be perceived, but it's like in corporate America, you have to be perceived. Like on social media, you have to be perceived. And it's all for like other people's benefit and entertainment. And it's like you're never getting any connection back at all from anyone. It's like you might get money, you might get clicks. Like I've gone viral many times on other social media platforms, but it's like part of you like dies inside every time. Like it feels like a piece of me dies inside every single time, because it's like no matter what all those people say online, it's like you'll look over and it's like when you lay down at night and it's still just you. So it's like at what point, like feminism, I think, really lied to women in the sense where they felt like going out and doing all these things, we could have everything, but it's like we have the opportunity for money, but not the connection and the love that we need.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what she's saying, and that's what's missing. And this is, what is it?
That I was caught up in it. I was getting carried away. All right, I want to hear what y'all have to say about that. I'm just gonna throw this out. I think society has, and I said I'm not gonna talk a whole lot, so I lied. I think society is programming that it doesn't want women to fulfill their maternal, motherly roles. And I've pointed this out. I live here in Atlanta. We're always building something here in Atlanta. And one day I was driving downtown and it hit me. I saw an apartment that they were building off the highway and I could see it. And I noticed this was the backside of the apartment building that they were building. They had a pool, really nice pool area. They had a nice little dog park and they had a parking deck. And I noticed something. I said, you know what they don't have?
A playground.
A playground. And I started paying attention because there's several of them here in Atlanta. So you can see they don't build playgrounds anymore. And it's almost as if they don't expect there to be children.
Oh.
They build dog parks.
What part of Atlanta is this? I would be curious to see, like, is that
a very affluent part?
I don't live in Atlanta.
75 South going right into the city, right there off of Howell Mill.
Okay, so
look at the apartments.
Would this be more of the how do we say it? The how you doing?
Less melanated?
Well, no. Would this be more of the?
Yes.
No.
I
mean, there's that aspect. That's not where I was talking about. I mean, there's a section of town that we could probably go investigate that too, I'm sure. But it's sad to say, this was I hate to say there's probably going to be more playgrounds in that area because a lot of those areas are established neighborhoods, so they've got grandfathered in playgrounds. But if they're building something new, they don't generally have playgrounds.
I mean,
it's almost as if they don't want there to be little people.
I think it kind of goes along with, so I've never lived in Atlanta, but I kind of understand what's happened there over, I don't know, maybe the last 2 decades. When you have such a population that is hyper educated, that is upward mobility, the guppies, all of that, they tend to have children much later or not at all. So I wonder if it's like
That's my point.
I don't know if it's what came first. Are
The
they
chicken or
just
egg?
accommodating the types of people that tend to move there, or are they trying to implement, send subliminal messages like there's no playground here, so we don't want these little snot-nosed little kids running around.
I'm gonna go with plan B. I mean, playing the second option because I've lived here long enough. I've seen it, and they used to have playgrounds.
That's an interesting observation.
Or community parks and such of that nature. I mean, we have a ton of dog parks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look, even go around and again, I don't want to go too far off, but if you just go around your normal little strip mall, you don't see a whole bunch of little gyms and Kumans and dance studios. You see pet stores, pet grooming, pet fashion, dog. I mean, you see a lot of that stuff.
Let me tell you, in Los Angeles, I lived there for a while. We had pet gourmet bakeries.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
Which I did go to. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, we're kind of cultivating. We're like, what is it? I know we're below replacement level as I think it's the entire West at this point. So, I wonder if it's like, well, they're not having babies, so why spend the extra money to build to build the playground? There's not going to be, and you know what? Like kids just don't even want to play outside anymore. So I wonder, it's probably like a mix of reality and this expectation, of people not, having as many children, because that's just not normal.
If you live in blue cities, you'll find this phenomenon all over. And what it is if you look at the building industry, what happens is there are so many regulations regarding building that it is cost prohibitive for developers to build single family homes. That is not accidental. So they're not getting this population of people, because you can go other places where they have no problem building single family homes. Yet in many cities they do, and particularly places where where Democrats are in charge, because they implement the same types of, they're beholden to the same environmental lobbies and all other types of lobbies. And it is very difficult to have a family in a place where there's no space for an actual family. So they are designing spaces so that they're not conducive to family life on purpose. Because what they're unwilling to do, and this is in the most generous interpretation, if you don't think this is based on pure maniacal evil, the generous interpretation is that they're unwilling to trade their environmental values and other liberal, woke values on behalf of cultivating an environment where families can thrive. That's a generous look at it. A more sinister look at it is absolutely a plan to socially engineer society away from families.
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's a mix. Yeah.
Have you guys heard the acronym DINK? DINKS?
Yes.
It's
I
double
haven't.
income, no kids.
Yeah.
That's a trend now.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Is that supposed to be like a big up, like they are like that's cool to be a dink?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can go where they want, spend the money that they want. It's like disposable income, no kids. Or dual income, no kids.
Yeah, double income, no kids. They love to post. I mean, I've seen a lot of lifestyle kind of posts on TikTok or X or Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, but I see TikTok other places. That's how ubiquitous it is. But they post all those videos about, this is the life of a dink. It's so great. And it makes me sad. It makes me scared for younger women, I guess I'd put it that way, because this panel discussion is called Did Feminism Lie to Us? And I've been trying to figure out how to talk about this more, which honestly it scares me a little bit, because I'm not trying to say I'm not any kind of victim of feminism. I made my choices, and some of them were bad choices. But I
Mhm.
definitely was influenced by feminism, by woke ideology. I definitely bought into. I was deceived by a lot of it, and so I would like to
Yeah.
start talking more to young women about what that deception was,
Yes.
because if I could change some things about choices I made, you know, I bought into that dink lifestyle for a while before we had a cool acronym.
Mhm.
But we, you know, I bought into that, and I didn't find Christ until my early 40s. And I, you know, my husband and I are at an age where we would like to have a family, and you know, we're going through all the things you go through when you're
Mhm.
there's also this aspect of the kind of incel hateful woke right guys who are just like, that's what you get, you know, like
Right.
you hit the wall. And so talking about it and being
Yeah.
honest about your struggles in the hopes of helping other younger women avoid those struggles is
Mhm.
a little scary, because you know people are going to be mean, but you know, it is what it is, and we're trying to figure that out right now. And I believe in a God who does miracles. So
Yes.
why not us?
God's
You
will
know,
be done. Yes,
yeah.
God's will be done.
Amen. You know, I love. Listen, I don't think we talk about the spiritual aspect of our God enough. So
Okay.
yes, He is a miracle working God. He is a God that talks to us. I was just talking about this on my channel, so I am with you, and I will be praying with you guys that you bring some more babies into this world.
Amen.
What I will say is that with this whole idea of like the dink, that to me automatically sounds like a female-led idea, because what man doesn't want to procreate? Like it's very rare that men don't want their seed to be seen. You know, men typically, Jason, this is a good, you can
I'm
chime
gonna
in,
jump in on
please.
this.
But men like are not really, they're not wired that way to think, oh, we can just have the money and not the babies, because men are more wired. I'm making the money for the babies. Like
That
a family is a driver for men.
Mhm.
So if I hear a man talking about I'm a dink, I'm like, you're
You're a dink. You really are.
you're
You're
a dink, all
dinky.
right.
Right,
I think it's fair to say
exactly.
that most men, most men don't honestly think about the fullness of building a family when they meet some young lady at the club or whatever like that, or you know, some new little hot things that you see them at the coffee shop. That's not what they're thinking about. When God opens up their eyes and they realize that, hey, I'm taking on responsibility. And, you know, like I just celebrated my 24th anniversary this past weekend.
Congratulations.
And, you know, you know, every year we joke about, you know, hey, am I getting a contract extension? What's going on? Like, what's happening? Do I get another year? What we got? We've determined, like, look, we'll just go ahead and give you a permanent contract extension, and we'll just let you know if you know, do some performance reviews or something. But it does take a level of maturing to get to the point that, you know what, I'm going to be with this woman. I want to raise little people. I want them to know me in the house, all that kind of stuff like that. And matter of fact, you know, a little side note, my wife and I were sitting on the couch Sunday. I told you all I had a friend of mine who he and his wife got married and divorced again, and they remarried this past Sunday.
Okay.
Crazy. It's a wild story, and I'll have to tell you about this story. But shout out to them. I just talked to him. It's my college roommate. And, you know, we were talking about the fact that our daughter, who's in college, literally calls us all the time. And I said, well, you do realize that most people don't have the relationship that we have with our kids. We've given them great experiences, and they have experiences that rival their white counterparts. All right. So we're not even talking about this just being ethnic, but I said, you do realize, and at the end of the day, they know that they really do have good parents that really care about them. And by God's grace, and that's why Big Girl calls us 3 times a day. She calls me 3 times a day. She calls my wife 3 times a day. She calls her sister 8 times a day. And I'm like, are you with your friends? Talk to your friends.
You
She
are
said,
her
what?
friend.
Right. She puts me on the phone with her friends to talk to her friends. Like, girl, go do stuff.
Aw.
But why is that? Because we've created a great environment. So to the point that you're making, not everybody does that. And I'm not mad at them, but it's by God's grace. Because I wasn't shown that when I was coming up. Shout out to James and Belinda. Y'all did the best you could. Okay.
Yeah.
But I wasn't shown that. So so to the point that you're making, Quisha, it does take I believe a revelation by God to understand the role that I hold in his family and what I do in his family and how this family moves and such like that. And I do think that there's something that's lost in the society when we're not transparent and honest about what men do, what women do, and they're not the same. I totally respect that what my wife does, I can't do it. I totally respect it, and vice versa. So that's just my little 2 cents.
Well,
Yeah.
I just feel convicted to say what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
And I've not said it before, so I feel kind of sick that I want to say it. But I remember when the Dink hashtag started. That was like back in 2022 is when it really kicked off. I remember seeing it on a podcast and talking about it. And it upset me because so my husband and I, we don't have children. And I remember saying this was after the Lord saved me that this happened. The Lord saved me on November 1st of 2020. And when I saw it going around and all these women talking about it, we're dinks and we can do this and we can do that. And I always told people, I tell people, and forgive me if I'm not speaking well, I'm really nervous to even talk about this, but I always say I'm the exception. I was the exception to the rule, right? I'm not the standard. I never wanted children. That was so I had my tubes tied. Like, I think I was 20, 25 years old. Once I found out that you could do it that young, I went and had it done. They'd make you go through like a counseling session, say, this is 99% effective. It's irreversible. I was like, sign me up. The number one regret I have in my life is doing that. Because Jason, when you were talking about your daughters and your family life, that is such a blessing. I'm so happy that they have that. But as a lot of people don't have a good relationship or didn't have a good, family structure growing up. And I believed a lot of the lies that were instilled in me when I was young. You're not going to be a good mother. Don't have kids. What if they're not? This is so embarrassing. But this is just part of the upbringing, right? Don't have kids. What if they're not pretty? Because you're not pretty enough. So what if they're not pretty? Then you'll have to live with having children that are not pretty. And then your body's not going to look good. So like, you're not going to be a good mother. Your body's going to be ruined. Your kids aren't going to be good looking. And your husband isn't going to want you after that. I heard that, and that festered in my mind for decades, to the point that I made that decision, an irreversible decision. And then after the Lord saved me and I found my identity in him, and I realized what I had done, I grieve each day. I grieve with that, because what I would give to have a little David, my David, or, to have just some part of us that's one, Yeah. So it upsets me to see that, because women don't really know what they're doing and what they're saying. I believe that the deception starts when they're really, really young. Right. You want to go to work. You want to have a career. You want to be a boss babe. A man. Okay. Well, that's good for you to have a man. He can be your equal, but don't submit to a man. That starts now young, when they're in preschool.
Very
talking
young.
to the women about that. And so just think about the conditioning that happens all throughout the life to get to that point to where you say, I don't want to do something that I'm genetically programmed to do. God ordained it so. But you just have to think about the deception. As I was under deception, I never was a woke feminist, nothing like that. But a lot of women are, and they make irreversible decisions that they can't come back from. And I fear that a lot of them are going to be where I am now, with regret that they will have to live with.
Can I offer you a little encouragement?
Okay. Sorry for bringing the chat all the way down.
Oh no! Here's a little encouragement for you. So, my mom has a friend who had her tubes tied, And she and her husband thought, tubes tied, whatever. They now have a daughter who has her own children and family. So their daughter was conceived with their mom's tubes being tied. The doctor ended up saying it was like escaped a tiny little, all it was that little bit of light. That's all, but God is, I don't like to try to put limitations on God. I mean, I understand,
no.
doctors think that they got it all figured out. Some of them, I don't know, but I'm just saying this is a true story. Her tubes were tied, and they have a daughter who also has a child. So they got grandbabies.
Well, no, God can do it. Listen.
Yes, he can.
I told my husband, listen, God can do it. Whatever, here I am, Lord, send me whatever he wants to do with me, however he wants to use me. Even if that's not part of his plan for me, I can still speak about it in forums like this. And I believe that everything we are where we're supposed to be. I just want women to know that, it's not as bad as you think it is. And it's actually a blessing that you might miss out on.
Yeah,
I'm so surprised
that was
they let you do that so early. Honestly, because I was after my second, I was like, tie him up now, and my doctor was like, "No, you're too young." I was like 25. I think
it used to be you had to be 39 or you had to have 2 kids already. And then I had somebody at work tell me, "No, they'll do it now when you're 21." I was like, "Okay."
So
I called the doctor the next week.
They've been changing all of those kind of waiting periods and things like that, and making it much easier for people to make these permanent decisions about their bodies at younger and younger ages, so much so that, as I'm sure you guys are all aware, with the so-called transgender medicine, they allow children to make these permanent decisions that can sterilize them or remove body parts before they're even at the age of consent, before their brains even developed, when they're kids. And I don't want to take us off another direction, but just if anybody's watching who's not aware, you need to go read the WPATH files, and specifically the WPATH files. That's the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Specifically look at the comments of the doctors who are in those files on record and on video, admitting that these kids have no concept. They're kind of making fun of the kids in one video. They're like, this kid's like, "Ooh, girls, gross. I don't care about having kids. Yeah, do this surgery." And they're like, they're aware of, these adult doctors are aware of the fact that these kids have no concept of whether or not they're going to want children or families, because they're kids themselves, and they're at their age. They're at that age where they're saying, "Ew, boys, yuck." And anyway, it's very disturbing.
Carrie, you said something earlier that I wanted to speak to, because this is something that I encounter, and I intend to spend a lot more time on it. And this was the idea that, sort of this red pill or group of men, look at you, you missed your window and it's your fault, and all of the anger. First of all, I want to start by saying this deception did not only happen to women. And they want to lay this at the feet of women, that, we choose to be boss babes, and we choose this lifestyle to take us out of our place. You said that you made your choices. Yes, you made your choices from a menu that was prescribed for you. That's what you got. You got a pre-prescribed menu, and you were allowed to pick from that menu. So your choices were, in fact, very predictable, because they don't do these types of social movements and create this type of cultural mores and norms because they don't work. They're done because they do work. They can predict the number of people who are likely to do. So you ask yourself, let me give you an example in this sense. If you remember, hopefully I'm not the only one, because I'm slightly telling my age. If you remember when you used to have, the phone on the wall,
Of
or,
course.
or a house phone.
Yes, girl.
Do you remember there was always an extra button on the phone?
Yeah.
For years, we did not know that that button was going to be for call waiting, that there was going to be an introduction of 2 lines and you would toggle between those 2, but they would manufacture phones 15 and 20 years in advance with a button
No.
for something they were not either hadn't developed it or hadn't developed it to the point where they were going to put it out in public. That is exactly the same way people are programmed. They start a conversation today, not because people today are going to live like that, but so that they can predict what the people of tomorrow will be doing. I read somewhere that in New York City, they can predict the number of jail cells that they will need 20 years in advance by the number of failing 3rd graders.
No.
So they
That's
can
always been
act
true, though.
more.
Yeah.
That's always been the case.
So I
I hate to say it,
don't,
that's been the case. That's all over the country.
I just want to say, I don't, and at some point there's going to be some pushback, and I'm certainly willing to do it for this anger towards women, because women are in the situation we're in. We're in the situation we're in because we've been programmed to be in this situation. And this situation, as disadvantageous as it is for us, it is equally disadvantageous for men. And you can see that because their stats aren't looking much better. Their depression, their all of their anxiety. I just watched this gentleman. I forget the name of his book. I think it's called The Crisis of Young Men. This was done to all of us, and no one is going to be served by pointing the finger and saying, well, you got the job over me because of DEI and all these social programs. That's probably true. And guess what? Me getting the job is hurting me, and me getting the job is hurting you. Both of us got screwed in this.
Okay, Celeste is preaching.
Yes.
Yes, girl.
And matter of fact, I think the next segment of this video actually kind of gets into that. So you're right in the spirit. Let us continue.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says, what is it to gain the world and lose your soul? So when the focus for women and whoever is all about money, get to the bag. This is exactly what a lot of successful so-called boss chicks are experiencing. You prioritize your work and your careers first, and you led with that. You became successful, and now you have no family to share it with. And I'm not talking about your mommy and your daddy. I'm talking about your family, your husband and your children, building a life with someone, sharing your life with someone, having experiences with somebody who actually cares about you, and children who look up to you and love you unconditionally. This is the things that a lot of women are foregoing because they don't really understand the full purpose and the benefits of it. They don't understand the love and the gratification that you get from your family, the love, when nobody else cares about you. When you go to those jobs, when you make this money for these people, and everything that you do financially is contingent upon how they see you. I don't know how many times I've seen celebrities who have mentioned publicly that everyone was in their corner, everybody was supporting them, everybody was around them, everybody was with them until they fell off. Till they got sick and they was in a hospital, and none of those so-called friends were there to support them or help them. Maybe there was one or two out the bunch of people who were screaming and yelling, oh my God, you're so great, you're so this, you're so that, when you're on. And they're doing that because they benefit from you being on. The minute they can't benefit from you, then you're dropped like a hot potato. You're left by the wayside. They don't.
This is uplifting. Oh, we're positive. Jason.
Sorry, ladies, I want to jump on that, because she said a lot right there, and I want to see, did you want to, anything you wanted to chime in on, Carrie or Celeste? Quisha looks like she's taking notes. And y'all can say no, by the way. Y'all can say no. We let her cook, and it's okay too.
Now I'm just wondering who's going to take care of me and David when we're old. and senile.
I mean, that's a real
got
problem. And
nobody.
countries are already suffering, of that problem. Like Japan, I think it's Japan, where they had so many men
China,
because they were like, I don't know what they were doing with the little baby girl.
Their one
but,
child, their one child policy,
right?
backfired.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so now they're suffering the consequences. I will say, I think, I don't know if it's because God writes on us that part of His will. Because when I was a little girl, and all my sisters, we all played with baby dolls. We all imagined our wedding. We all we're like the family. We got to have Ken and we got to have Barbie, and they have to have babies.
Yes.
Every one of my sisters, we imagined our wedding when we were like 5. We just came in the world that way. And it takes the culture to pull you away from those things if you don't have your family that roots you in the things of the Lord. And I grew up, here's why I have a heart for Christians in particular, because I grew up in a Christian family. But within my family, I still was fed a doctrine of secularism that had me believing my race was somehow superior. Being a woman was something I needed to go and, get the bag and do all this stuff. But I grew up in a Christian family. So it's the church that is buying into the culture of the kingdom of darkness instead of staying rooted in the culture of the kingdom of God. And so it's like, I feel like these things are kind of already rooted in us. God has written His will for what we are to do and how we would be best, how our lives would be best led. And because of our families or culture, a mix of all, we get pulled away from His incredible design, and we think that this other thing is what we really want to do. And then we get a little taste of it and we're like, you know what, that's I don't like that. I don't want to cry in the car when I drop my kid off to daycare. Me and the baby are crying. The baby knows, your child knows that, I'm about to go into this place with these strangers. You're dropping me off. There's a lot of abandonment. Seriously, that the child picks up. I don't know one mother who had to drop her child off to a daycare and didn't cry. Do y'all? I don't know one. I really don't. And it's something because intuitively, and your baby knows this is not right. And then you try to fix it, and you're like, well, we got the best daycare. We're going to be able to look at you through a monitor to make
convince
sure.
yourself.
Right.
We're convince myself.
This helps me cope better because I can see you when the little kid, tries to bite you. Screaming at the monitor like, no. And then when you go to pick your kid up, now you're trying to deal with all that. It's traumatizing for everybody.
It is.
The writing is on the wall that maybe we shouldn't be dropping our kids off to strangers at 3 months old, but we still do it. We think that this is
normal.
It's virtue or something. And I know I'm not trying to, I know that there are people who, the way their lives are set up right now, they don't want to do it, but they're doing it.
Well, part of
you don't have to. You sacrifice some things, so you don't have to do that.
Amen.
I think
part
you're
of
right.
that.
Go ahead. No,
Sorry.
Carrie, please.
Well, I was just going to say part of that is because of what you were talking about before, Celeste, which is because a consequence of women entering the workforce, en masse, is that the wages fell because now you've got double the workforce. And so now we find ourselves in the year 2026. You hear everyone talk about how it's so hard to have a single income family, that you need these 2 incomes for a family if you want to have a family. It is much harder than it was in the 50s, yes, but it's still, I'm with you, Quisha. I do think it's possible. You just have to get really creative and change the way you think about certain things. And I hear what you were saying is kind of challenging the story that we were presented with, that like I was definitely presented with this story of this is the way things are. And, as you get older and you start to realize, whoa, the story I've been told is maybe not true. And actually it contradicts what you talked about, what God has written on my heart. That maybe that's why it felt so unnatural for so long. There's this deep, unsettling feeling. A lot of the women I know in the dink lifestyle, when I lived in Los Angeles or in New York, a lot of the women like myself, well, you guys have seen the studies and the rates, especially white leftist women have incredibly high rates. So they have the highest rates of antidepressants, being diagnosed with mental illness. They have the lowest reported life satisfaction. This is for all demographics. And so there's this, and a lot of my friends, in the feminist world, in the woke world, they always kind of talked about, there was always this is just anecdotal evidence, right? But this is people I knew would always talk about this just unhappiness. In fact, now I read a lot of their posts. I'm still friends with some of them on social media, on Facebook and stuff. And it's like every post is either very angry about something out of their control, like this, like whoever's in office or something on the world, level, very angry about something political, or it's interspersed with posts about how depressed they are and they can't get out of bed in the morning and what kind of medication are you on? Let's compare meds, kind of thing. And it's just a very bleak kind of outlook.
I want to jump on this and I'll bring back in the video, so I'm not going to be long. One of the things that in order for feminism to take root, we do have to eschew and we have to shun God's original design for husbands and wives, families. There's a lot of hurdles that we got to jump over to get to where we are. And I think the natural byproduct of that is that we see depression, because this is not how we were supposed to be doing this. Is supposed to see that we can't live on a single income and raise a family, because this is how we were supposed to be doing it. And everybody's been affected. Celeste said it so clearly. Everybody has been duped. Everybody's been bamboozled by it, because now we're in a system. Now the system has gotten so far afield that there's no way to really. I'm not saying there's no way. There is. However, it's going to be extremely difficult. Those hurdles are going to be serious to go back over in order to get back to even a semblance of how society should have been had we never shunned God's original design and plan for families. I think
Can I say one thing really quick?
No, you may not. No, you
I'm
may
gonna
not.
say it
Wait,
anyway.
hold on. Only if you can only say it if the best live chat on the internet. Make sure that y'all go ahead and subscribe to our guest channels, and please make sure that you leave some green hearts over there. So only then, because Quisha, I don't want you giving them that wisdom without them getting at least 5 people run over there real quick. Can I need 5, 10, 15, 20 people lines to run over there real quick and subscribe to their channels. Quisha, go ahead.
Yeah, you're like this close to the 100,000 too. I saw the post.
I know. I gotta get some boy over there. Get some boy over there.
Gotta subscribe. Now I done forgot my doggone thought.
That's because you old. I done distracted you. I done distracted you. I'm sorry.
They convinced. Think about this, y'all. They convinced us to do the hardest job alone. Like I was thinking about this. I'm like, what will we smoke? Like, you have to be one heck of a salesperson. You are very persuasive. If you can convince a woman, a mother, to be like, you know what? I think what's better for you is if you take on all the cares of the world, your own needs and the kids' needs all alone. Like that is like the enemy. We underestimate the enemy. It's so stupid. It is just the dumbest thing. I'm so sorry. It is the dumbest thing. Oh, this is what I was going to say. This is my point. Imagine, like, they are literally, we've seen it. They show inappropriate material to the children in these public schools. I call them indoctrination camps.
Amen.
They are showing them inappropriate material. That was the line for me. I'm like, there is no way I will eat potatoes and bread for the rest of my
Yes.
life before I let you show instill this garbage into my child. Oh, you got me all the way messed up. I don't care. Enough.
Enough.
We were out. When they started asking my baby what pronouns she wanted to go by, we're out. I'm out of here. And I'm sorry, I don't have time for you to change the school boards. I'm with it. Look, I'm an incrementalist. I will do that, yes, but it's not going to be on. By the time you change the school board, my child would have graduated. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, there is no way I can leave my child in this situation. I feel that was too far for me. So
you know what,
you
Quisha,
think that we're not serious. They still do in some places. They show inappropriate materials to your children. It's not a game. The what they are trying to instill into your child, it is everything opposite that you have taught them. That's too much, too far. I'm out.
So Quisha, even though you say, you were raised in a Christian home, but there was, a lot of secularism, they lost on you because you actually had children. So if you were to take my friends and the people that I know, we didn't get that far. So even your idea of saying, when you were young and you played with dolls, and by 5-year-old, you could all imagine, you and your sisters, what your wedding would be like. And I'm sure you had those kinds of conversations. So I'm in a friend group of extremely ambitious women. That is not at all what they were doing. Wow. They're not at all.
Can I ask, how old are you? I'm 44.
All right. I cannot tell. It's one of the many things that I could be caught in a lie about. So I cannot tell. But what I'm saying is there is a serious cadre of women, and I'm not putting them down. They are my friends. I love them dearly. Yes. I'm telling you, I was born and raised in a blue city all of my life. I've pretty much lived in blue areas. That is not what happens there. That is not at all what is happening there. These women, for all of the talk about, women pursuing their careers and then becoming unhappy, I don't have a single friend who's unhappy. And all of them have achieved exactly what they wanted to achieve in life. And they're very happy.
And they don't have children?
No husband, many of them, no husband, no children, and they're not at all mad about it.
Do you really think, how old are you? Give me an age range. Give me an age range.
Okay, I can tell you about friends of mine.
Yes.
Okay. I can tell you what their ages are. So let's say they're like in their 40s, probably early 50s.
Okay, late 40s, early 50s.
Now, some even just go from 40. They're really not. So I'm saying when we've got to understand that this programming works because the difficulty in like Jay Witt was saying, in terms of it's so far afield. I think you're right. I think we could be pulled back, specifically the women who either have found a relationship with God, like Edie or like Carrie, people who are sitting back and assessing and saying, you know what, I need to look at my life. I need to kind of evaluate some of my choices and do, yes, these are people who we'll be able to work with. You'll be able to do. These people who have said all my life, I wanted this and I got it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very difficult to discuss with them because they're not unhappy.
Well, praise the living God that they're not. Listen, I'm not saying that there aren't women who can't be happy and, working, climbing the ladder, having their own business, whatever, not having children. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. I just think those are the exceptions to the rule because most women, in my opinion, I find the most fulfillment in taking care of the house. I don't find any. I used to, when we were in the office, guys, I got to the point where I was crying on the way to work. Okay. I saw a gift the other day of this woman crying. I loved it. Usually I'm like, why are you sitting at the camera to cry? But this was fantastic because she was saying, have you ever had to get ready for work? It's the worst. That's literally, that was her video. Like, what did we fight for? Why am I driving to an office when I want to be in the kitchen baking? I'm like, yes.
Let me. I'm gonna push back on Celeste, and I love Celeste. That's why I like having her on, because most of the time she says exactly what I'm thinking, and much more eloquently than I can say it. Celeste, there are happy crack addicts. There are functioning meth addicts out there who use meth. There's that influencer, that guy that takes meth to stay lean, to stay thin. That does not mean. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not. That he is definitely, unequivocally, the exception to the rule. The rule is most of them are strung out and ruined. So I'm not saying that they're not some people who are very happy. That are happy, but I do think that there is going to be a bill to pay, and somebody mentioned it. If nothing else, as you get older, and you realize that you don't have anybody to, there's nobody in the living room with the TV on, watching something, and I'm like, why are you watching it so loud? Or there's nobody coming in my room asking me a question at 3 o'clock in the morning. That kind of stuff. Even sleep trained children do that. So that's what I think.
But Jason, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think we're saying the same thing. What I'm saying to Quisha is that she's lucky, because I feel like once you have the children, all of that information comes to you through your biology and your chemistry, and you start going, oh my God, I am so made for this. I am so built for this. I'm saying for the women that didn't, that they don't have that information in the same way. So although they are happy, what I think they don't know is that there may have been a life where they would have been happier. That I don't think that they have any concept. They cannot conceive. You mean there would be something more than this that would be more fulfilling to me? They feel fulfilled. So I'm not disagreeing with you in that they're not, but I think the difference is we have to go to them and say, yes, you are happy. But do you know that in fact, had you designed your life according to your actual design, if they were incongruent, it is possible that you could even be happier than you are right now. I would think that's the message, because it's going to be very difficult to tell these people, and like Kerry was saying, tell them, oh, you hit the wall and nobody wants you anymore, and all of that's not going to work. All of that.
And I wouldn't tell anyone, I wouldn't tell that to any woman, but I would, because that makes me think about God's design. Like, I get what we think, but we know that the Bible says that there is a way that seems right, but the end thereof is destruction. Like, it might seem right to them right now, but and like Jason was saying, or I think Jason was saying this, like, it might seem like it feels right now, but I would suspect that God, along their life, there have been moments where God has given them, because that's he don't leave you really out there like just with nothing. You know what I mean? He's dropping little seeds along the way. We choose to ignore them. And I don't know, I don't know your friends, and I'm sure that I believe everything that you're saying. But for the women who may be hearing this, that might be in the same situation, I would just encourage them to look back over their life to see, has God tried to show me something? Because it is not, we are made to be his helper. Like, God literally said, I will make for him a helpmeet suitable for him. And that's our job. And it's a very important job. Vital aid. That's what helper means. Vital aid. And I understand the programming. Trust me, I came out of it. I understand it. I'm just saying, when I came out of the programming, when I looked back, as a professing Christian, I had to ignore certain things that God said in order for me to be programmed, if that makes sense. Like once I was older,
Yeah.
you have to willfully ignore what the Bible says and just, glom on to this new idea. And so, for women out there, I would just encourage women to look back over their life to see, has God tried to show me that this is really not the best way because y'all know we will justify. Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah.
We will take a little piece of crumb of what seems right to us and ride that sucker till the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well, Carrie, thank you for this.
I love
Here's a
it.
woman saying this. I'm so glad I'm not locked away from the world as a homemaker, slave to some husband. Deborah, your 15-minute break is over.
The woman crying in the background.
Yeah, it is.
Look at her crying. It's like, what did we fight for, guys? I just want to make my bread, and I'm gonna take care of my husband.
Sometimes memes, when they're good, they use humor to shine light on a truth. And there is just something to that meme about, look, I'll do the not all qualifiers, right? As my friend Josh Slocum calls it. Like, people always want to say not all. Okay, so he always says, let's get them out of the way. Yeah, right. So not all women are going to be unhappy in the workplace. All these things that you mentioned also, Celeste. I think it's that we change. See, critical theory, whether it's feminist theory or queer theory or critical race theory, a lot of it's about upending things, like turning things upside down, destroying what's the norm, destroying what's part of God's natural law. So it used to be, I guess you could argue, before most women were working, it was the norm that people were more following this path of the traditional family, and the wife being a homemaker and taking care of the home, being the helpmate, taking care of kids. And then the outliers were the women who maybe had some other kind of calling or purpose, or outside of that. The outliers were the women who were going into business, even at that time, or going to school or going into politics. But what we did with this cultural movement and this whole shift, which, as you talked about, Celeste, was probably orchestrated, is that we turned that completely upside down, where now the norm that is presented is that you go outside of the work, outside of the home, and you are this corporate worker, and you put your child care, you put your home care, like all of the homemaking stuff, you outsource it and hire people to do all of that for you, including raising your kids. And that's what's presented as the norm. And the outliers are now the families where the woman's like, hey, this is going to be incredibly hard, but I'm going to stay home. And and the husband's like, we're going to figure out how to make it work on one salary. Like, that's the outlier now. And I think that's upside down.
You're right.
It is upside down. Yeah.
Sense. It used to be the outlier was sort of the people not following that traditional pattern for the family, and now it's the opposite. So
Indeed.
It's the same way women work for go to these corporate jobs, start these businesses with people, trying to build your way up. The minute they don't need you, the minute they see another opportunity to get somebody else in to pay less or whatever, they'll drop you like a bad habit, and they don't care. You have to pick up the pieces, because that's the nature of the game. You're only useful if you can benefit somebody in a financial way or for their financial gain. And so what happens is, when you continue that path and that's all you're focused on and that's all you have, there's going to be a deficit. There's going to be something missing. This is why even people who are super successful are depressed sometimes. They feel lost. They feel confused. They don't feel like they have a purpose, because they are missing that family that is there for you no matter what. That's what that's supposed to be, your safe place, where you have unconditional love from your husband and your children, the people who you love and the people who are there, and they got your back no matter what. A lot of times people don't prioritize that. They don't understand the importance of it because they've never had it, and they never thought it was important to have. But when they see it in other people, it makes them feel sad. It makes them feel depressed because they're like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish, but they don't think it's attainable because they haven't had the tools in order to get it, nor were they taught that that was something that you should prioritize or that that was something that you should focus on and go after. No, they were taught, go after the money, take care of yourself. You can be independent. Don't depend on the man. They're only looking at one side of it. And that's what's leading a lot of women astray. And I think a lot of women are waking up to it. A lot of women are realizing that that is not the life that they really wanted. It's causing them more stress and turmoil than anything else, than any type of satisfaction or gratification. They have these careers, but they're still miserable. Let's continue.
You need someone next to you at night. Like, you need someone who's going to protect you and care for you and like look out for your best interest, like someone who's going to give you advice and like guidance and that you could just do life with and be like, hey, let's build this empire together. Like, let's have kids. Let's just do life together. That feels like the only thing that is not violating, because like, I don't know, right now, every aspect of society as a woman feels like you're getting violated, like literally 6 ways from Sunday. And the only thing that's not violating is having a family, like getting married and having a family, because then when you serve that man, he's going to serve you back. You're going to love each other, and it's going to be an equal exchange of love and respect and connection that you can't get anywhere else, like not from work, not from school, not from social media. And it's like, yeah, I can't be the only one that thinks like that. Like, am I the only one? Let me know.
Oh, is this the one? Wait, was she the one who was crying?
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you have
Yeah,
to go to
she's
work. Wait, play it.
That's her.
Oh,
Oh,
it's a
you want-
different girl,
oh.
but play it, play it, play it.
No. Okay, you don't want, okay, I thought y'all might want to tap in on this. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, here you go. Why? Let me back up, give her a
It was
little,
a different.
here you go.
Let me know.
Whoever fought for women to get jobs. Why?
I know, girl.
Why did we do that? I am so tired. I want to just put my feet up. Like, I am, oh my God.
I'm there.
Okay.
Let me tell
why
you.
y'all laughing at? Why y'all laughing at?
Because like, why
we identify
am
with
I
it.
going into the office? What on earth? No, listen. I don't want, I want to depend on a man. I want to depend on my husband. Honey, I want to stay here and take care of your house and take care of you in every way that I can. But I don't want to worry about anything else, okay? Can you, all the things that we have to worry about, please. So I regret it. Yeah, Jason, I regret it. And I am judging Susan B. Anthony, whoever it was that fought for our
Susan
rights.
B. Anthony catching strays.
And everyone else.
Yeah,
Oh,
Susan B.
man.
Anthony was, I mean, yes, we big her up, but yeah, Susan B. We side-eyeing you too. We are.
So not Rosie the Riveter. You're not down with Rosie the Riveter. Okay.
Whatever. I will say with one of the things that this lady said that I wasn't. I don't like when women now we want to play the victim, like we're getting victimized everywhere in life. We're okay. No, I'm not being victimized or violated. Excuse me. That's what the words that she used.
Yes.
I feel like I'm being violated everywhere. No, we're not going to do that. Let's not. We're not having a pity party. I'm not being violated at my job that I'm grateful for. Praise the living God for a job, because we need 2 incomes in this house. Not saying that. No, we've not been violated. So let's not play victim anymore. But I can understand what she was saying and like finding fulfillment in what God called us to do. Create a family, have a good relationship. Those are the things that I find fulfillment in, which is what I think that she was getting at. But I'm pushing back on the whole being violated in every aspect of society part.
Okay. I can dig it.
I do think, though, that as a word of encouragement, that the tide is shifting. And I think what shifted the tide for women, and this is anecdotal, but was COVID. Because when women got to stay home, and even though they were still working, because they were home, almost every woman I know was like, I'm never going back into the office. I'm never going back. And almost all of them, with a few exceptions, almost all of my friends, I should say, all went and got 100% remote jobs.
Amen. Praise the
They
living God.
they absolutely did. So I think that there is, thank God for life and how he's doing things. But I think COVID was a wake up call for a lot of people, and most of men that I know could not wait for things to open up.
Mhm.
Where I lived at the time, we stayed closed forever. We were out of work for like 3 years. I mean,
Oh
it
my
was
word.
very, very long time.
Oh, you live in a really blue city.
I'm telling you, I'm bringing news from the blue areas.
Yes, girl.
Oh, man.
Blues news.
What is it
Blues
like
Clues.
there?
Yes.
Coming to you live from a blue
Yeah.
state.
From a blue
So,
state.
but
Wow.
Do we need to send you a care package? Are you
Well,
okay?
Right.
Blink twice.
Listen,
Blink
if I
twice,
blink, I was just gonna say somebody
need help.
drop, hella back down and drop.
So
If
can
you
Wow.
get me,
during the COVID years, I work a lot of gig jobs now. I had a career in entertainment when I was in the woke world, and I canceled myself. I'm proud to say I mean, I left willingly. I left woke ideology. Then there was like an attempted cancellation, but it was like, no, I broke up with you. You're not breaking up with me.
Right.
Right.
But I left that world and I started doing gig jobs after that. And so they're pretty flexible. And during the COVID years, anyway, long story short, I was doing wine tours, and we would get, because I'm in Texas, which was much more open, especially if you were outside of the city. We would get all the people from places like where you live, Celeste, like all the blue city people would fly here and then take off their mask and be like, yeah, and get on the
Yes.
vans. And I would be driving them to wineries and they're just partying and then going back to their lockdown states. We were getting an
Wow.
influx of people from the
Yeah.
lockdown states. Just
oh yeah,
cutting
everyone
loose.
I know they
Never
left.
forget. Never forget those years, guys. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Celeste.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And that's, when people really started realizing this idea that the country is divided, that we are absolutely living in two different realities.
Mhm.
I remember I had to fly for a medical reason to Georgia, where my brother is. And when I saw him, I was like, "Where's your mask?" And he was like, "I don't have one." And I was like, "What do you mean? The COVID's been going on for 8 months." And he was like, "Oh, I've never had one." I was like, "And they let you go in stores?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure. It's optional. You can wear it if you want to." I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Let me,
So
guys. Oh, sorry.
let me. I'm sorry. So I live in Cobb County, Georgia. Do you know what Cobb stands for?
Mm-mm.
No.
COVID is over, baby. We didn't do. I don't think we did mass for a whole 3 weeks. We try. I'm like, whatever. This is dumb.
Listen, I'm in the free state of Florida.
Right. We
I
didn't.
gave
Oh
them
my
2
gosh.
weeks.
So
yeah, you don't know.
and
We
we were
stayed
done.
open. We stayed open.
I think it was in 21 or 20. I think it was 22. I remember because I was just at my wit's end and about ready to go crazy on everybody. And my husband and I went to Florida, and it was like, oh no, this was 2021. And it was like being in a different world.
It is.
Because
Mhm.
nothing, it was the best time of my life. And then we came back here to Virginia, and they were still only letting in like a bushel of people to the grocery store at a time. And people had to wait outside.
What's
And
a
you
bushel?
follow-
Is that
like maybe
12?
like I say this many that you could do. This is a bushel, maybe 20. And you had to follow the arrows. You had to follow the arrows, right?
Yes.
And you had to wear the mask. When I tell you, I'd had it. You know what? You reach a limit, right? It's like, oh, she's there. It's just like one more. And okay. And I was following the arrows. And what I needed was just on the edge
Oh, I hated that. Oh.
of an exit only row. Okay.
Mhm.
Mind you, there may be only 10 other people in the entire Walmart Supercenter. Just imagine how big Walmart Supercenter is, okay? I reach up to get it. The Walmart gentleman says, you need to follow the arrows. When I tell you I held up the packet, and said, I have the right to take this packet of beef stew seasoning from the end of this aisle I have just been to Florida. I gave this whole speech. I was like, I have just been to Florida. And we are in the
You didn't
United
turn
States
into
of
that
America.
person, did
I
you?
brought up my rights as a United States citizen. I brought up my rights to
She became a sovereign citizen in aisle 8 at Walmart.
Exactly.
I said,
Wow.
go ahead, take the seasoning. I said, yeah, I'm going to take the seasoning. This is wrong. Like the 5 other people that were around. No, I have people down there with
Edie,
the baloney.
I'm
laughing.
with you.
Yeah, I was like, no. Just wanted to do it. I remember that. Never forget, people.
Listen,
what they had
these
us doing.
people tried to take us out.
I know.
Okay, they literally tried to. It was okay. I am a little dramatic, if you can't tell.
No way.
No, but you're not wrong about that. You're right about that. They sure
it
did.
was just too much, and it didn't make any sense. I think I was more pissed off that y'all were not y'all, but them y'all. They were trying to convince us. This is the thing that had me the most pissed. That quarantining healthy people was somehow going to prevent the spread of the COVID. I'm like, so wait a minute. I don't think there's any time in history where medical professionals, the doctors, quarantine the healthy. Right. When do you, why are we quarantining the healthy? I was talking to people that I know, asking the doctors, asking nurses, I'm sorry, why are we quarantining healthy people? And this is what pissed me off. We're just following the FDA protocols. I said, if you say FDA, CDC, or protocol to me one more time, say it. One more time.
Like people were there. We were at the limit.
And we were in Florida. I just, like, even being here and not even having to do all that. But when I saw other people just so consumed by the tyranny, like they loved it. They
some people loved it.
I know people, they loved it and they didn't. I'm telling. Wore Dr. Fauci t-shirts.
No.
All of that. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
2 seconds off of Dr. Fauci.
And let me say this. I found that odd as a black
Jason's trying to realize
I found that odd as a black person because black people are always running around talking about the Tuskegee experiment. Yet all of the black people that I knew where I was living, they absolutely were like, I'm giving my life to Dr. Fauci.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was the craziest thing I had ever seen.
Yeah.
And that is how powerful the enemy is. I don't think we realize. What does Paul say? This is one of my favorite scriptures. Is 2 Corinthians. I should know it since I talk about it all the time. It's 2 Corinthians 11, something I think. But it's like, lest we be ignorant of Satan's devices, the devices of the enemy, y'all. They are powerful.
Yes.
I mean, we have more power because of the Holy Spirit, but we can't be ignorant. And that's what I saw. It was like everybody went stupid in like 5 seconds flat. But like Celeste was saying, like this indoctrinating, it was all, it was like I saw my life flash before my eyes. I'm like, I see
like,
you.
What is happening?
Because it was all about our lives that they were training us with even from the classroom, the one person standing there dictating to everybody what you're supposed to think. Like when people understand where the public schooling system came from, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Yes. But that our whole lives were sort of engineered for this moment, for us to fall right into the hands of the enemy. And
the enemy is very strategic.
Oh my goodness, y'all. We gotta be on our P's and Q's with that one.
Okay. No, I'm right there with you. All right, watch this one. I think this will help bring us back, and I believe this one will be encouraging. So let's go.
Right, which I am. I have a husband, right? Why would I want to just leave the house without him knowing? That doesn't make sense. I've never met a wife that prefers to be by herself. The wives I know, women that are around me, love being around their husband. They enjoy his company. I don't know what this like weird propaganda is, but like I have no desire to have money without my husband or to leave the house without him. Like, I'd rather go out to eat with him than any of you guys. Like, I don't even like hanging with friends. Like, I prefer being with my husband. He's literally my best friend. Feminism didn't do anything for me at all. All it did was create beef with y'all. I don't need some man-made institution to tell me that I can do this or I can do that. I'm good. Like, I like having a husband. I like being around him. I like that. I love working with my husband. Any kind of work I do, it's contributing to his business, and I love that. Like, that's what I like to do. I'm not interested in like leading my own life. That's like, that is contradictory to the concept of marriage, right? Like, if you're in a marriage, you're supposed to contribute to each other. You're not supposed to lead your own life. Like, you have to stop listening to miserable women that tell you that feminism is good and you should have your own, you should live your own life, and you should prepare for his ass to leave you and blah blah and all this miserable shit. Like, no, like, you're not saying anything. You wouldn't be able to leave the house. Where the f I'm gonna go?
Where am I gonna go?
I love this. I
Where's
love
she
it.
Where's she gonna go? Tell us where to go. Let's go. Edie, what do you think about that?
Okay, well, let me just. She wasn't saying women can't go leave the house without her husband's permission. That's not what she's saying. She's saying where she finds joy and fulfillment is being with her husband and her children. She doesn't have any desire to have a life separate from that, like a boss babe life, or I still want to go out kicking it with the girls. I'm going to go do the X, Y, and Z. That's not what she was saying, because I found that clip, and I saw a lot of the comments people were coming for. That is not what she was saying. I'm on board with everything that she said. My husband is my best friend. I'd rather hang out with him over anybody. It is my number one goal in life to make him happy. A lot of something that I don't think women also well, I'm not going to speak for all women. I'm so sorry. I'm hopping all over the board here. But even though I have a full-time job, okay, in corporate America, I still feel an obligation to take care of the house. Like, my husband, if he tries to help me, which I have the best husband, he's my greatest reward on this earth. If he tries to help me, he'll get up in the morning and do the chores. I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to do that.
Right.
And a lot of women will say, well, your husband should be helping you. You guys are partners. But I don't want that. No, because it's something innate within me. You're saying, like, as a woman, because I was made to be his helper. I want to care for him and do what God has called me to do. I don't know if you ladies feel the same way. So I still, it is my job to do the meals, I want to take care of David.
I don't
You see
know
what I'm
why
saying?
they're in your business. It's your house. Why are they in your business? Why are they in your
We would have
marriage?
these,
You're married to him.
we would have fun conversations like this when we were in the office, deep philosophical, like, why do we do the things that we do? And I would always say, I want to take care of my husband. This was even before I was saved, you see, because God, he's always there. I'm like, I don't want him to help with the chores. It's so nice that he wants to, but when he comes home, I want this to be his sanctuary. I want to make him a drink and a meal. And I get confused when other women are like, let him get his own food. Let him do this for you. Happy wife, happy life. Okay, but what is he getting? That's another toxic mindset. Happy wife, happy life. What are you doing to add to his life, or is he just working for you? That's toxic femininity. Everybody always wants to talk about toxic masculinity and the patriarchy. I, for one, am a supporter of the patriarchy. Hey, love the patriarchy. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. I'm here for the patriarchy. So I agree with what that woman was saying. I have no desire to have a separate life apart from my husband.
I agree.
I love it.
I got excited because there's so much of this negative talk. It was very exciting to watch this woman because there's so much negative talk about spouses in general. A lot of that has to do with, pop culture and just the denigration of marriage and the meaning of marriage. It's become very secularized, where it's like this remnant of Christianity that secular people participate in without having any concept of what it's supposed to mean. And so the reasons they go into, I'm always curious about why people who are not Christians get married. I'm always sort of like, I wonder what led them there. Yeah. And so it's a very secularized thing that people get into without knowing the meaning behind it and thinking about the meaning and thinking about the vows and what you're committing to and becoming one flesh. And then because of that, you get this in culture, this whole thing about, where it's sometimes popular, like make fun of your spouse, whether
I hate
that's your
that.
husband or your wife. I hate that. You don't tear down your spouse. Like,
No.
teasing one another, that's one thing, but this sort of denigrating put downs and stuff, it's so disgusting to me. And and the other is this, like you said, this idea of like, you want to be his helpmate and you want to make the home a relaxing refuge for him.
Yes.
Feminism tells women this lie of like, you're both equal in everything, and they don't mean equal in worth. We're equal in worth as children of God. We are equal in value, but they say you're also equal in terms of do scorekeeping, the exact amount of housework and all of this, and the exact amount of blah blah blah, and there's no leader. You have to have a leader. It took me a long time to realize this, because I was deep in the feminist cult, and it was like, we're just we're like, walking side by side as co-leaders. No, you're going to have conflict if you don't have a leader.
Right.
And there's so much to say. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied, but it's just, my husband is my leader. He is my shepherd. He has grown so much as my husband and as a Christian in the past few years. This year, he wanted to start doing a Bible study at night. So we've been doing the Bible in a Year app where we read the Bible out loud. And it's so geeky, but it's so fun. I've never done this before. And we'll be like, it's Bible time. And we'll go like read it.
I want a jingle. I want you to make a jingle. No, we need it to happen.
That's
Put in the chat, type Carrie. We need Carrie to do a Bible a family Bible time jingle. I need it to happen.
Like that.
I like it. No, I love it.
I like that.
I love it.
Let me answer this question about why do unbelievers get married. If you ever want to know why do unbelievers get married, listen to divorce lawyers. And the way that they address marriage as like this business transaction, this means by which to build again, it's all transactional. It's all very worldly. It's all very apart from God, but at least give you an idea, if you will, of the mindset that these people have. Because they're not saying that, I want to honor God because he told me to be fruitful and multiply. And I can't do that outside of a marriage. That's not what they're talking about. So if you ever want to understand, there's some popular ones on YouTube, and just listen to what they say. And you're like, oh, this is what the mindset of these people are. Because this person has been a divorce lawyer for 20 years, 30 years, they give you all the deets related to it, and you can kind of understand how they get, what is their thought process behind it, if you will. So,
Can I add
one final thing on that, and then before I forget, is in doing the Bible study together, we often end up talking about things and thinking about things in a different way. And one of those things I was thinking about recently is that if you read studies about why people cheat, why they commit infidelity, there are studies that indicate men cheat when they don't feel respected, women cheat when they don't feel adored. And I started thinking about that. Like, women want to be adored, men want to be respected. And what does the Bible command in a marriage? What does God tell us? He's telling us that. He's like, husband, love your wives like Christ loved the church. What's he saying to women? Like, he's saying submit to your husbands, like basically respect your husband as the leader. And so even if you're not a Christian, don't you think that stuff is written on our very nature?
Yes,
that like that's what men want, is they want more than anything else, they want respect from their wife. And more than anything else, the wife wants to feel adored by the husband, I think.
Yes. Can I just touch on that? Carrie, you mentioned this submission and your husband is your shepherd and your leader. That is actually such a blessing. It's so rewarding to serve. It's a blessing to serve the man. And a lot of women see that as less than, or an act of subservience, or under the heel of a man. No, it's actually God ordained, and it's beautiful to serve your husband and your partner. And it's nothing to turn your nose up at. I actually know, and we can talk, I mean, the world is going to world is going to world, the world's going to act like the world. But it frightens me to hear, because I've heard many Christian women, because I try to talk to women all the time about the Lord and tell them how he saved me. And they'll say, well, I love God's word, except the part where it says I'm supposed to submit to my husband. I love everything else about it. I agree with it. But that part, I don't know. I think God, I don't think he was really thinking when he inspired that part of scripture to tell me to submit to my husband. And I try to get to, the root of that, because that's stemming from something else. Well, what is your, we're supposed to be equal. My husband needs to respect me as I respect him, and we're equal with one another. I don't need to submit to him. We need to essentially submit to each other, which doesn't make any sense. You both can't submit to each other. So you'll see the toxicity has even infiltrated the church, as Celeste, you've already touched on. It's that frightens me more than the world saying it, because women in the world are going to say what they're going to say. But when Christians start perverting the word and saying, well, we can omit that part, we're not going to submit, when it's an honor to serve.
When I think about the weddings that I've been to, I have not been to a single wedding where the word obey was in the vows. I have not been to a single wedding where I've heard the word obey. And
I think it was at my wedding.
And I've heard lots of men say that about submitting.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard men say stuff that men talk like this too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, say that they don't want women to submit.
I've heard men say that they prefer their wives to work. I've heard men saying that that their wife is their partner, or that their girlfriend, or the one they want to be their wife, is their partner. I'm telling you that
it's everywhere.
It's all kinds out here.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Oh wait, do we need it? Do we need it? Hold on. Do you need it? Do we need that suspicious?
Weird. That's weird. That's suspicious.
There we go.
Even the dink thing, I've never heard a man, do the double income, no kids. But I remember in the Obama years, a bunch of guys were saying they wanted to get married and be a power couple, like Barack and Michelle.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yes.
it could come down to the same. I mean, they got their hooks in us good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. I wonder where that young lady is from, because she looks like she's mixed with Asian or something. It looks like some Asian something. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Culture is very, very important when you talk about family. The West has the family all jacked up. Okay. We were like, get rid of all the good things about, the family, marriage, children. We want the Judeo-Christian in the law, but when it comes to the actual family and building a society, like, we really don't want that too much. So I would be, because that is a very sort of radical way for a radical thing for a woman to say, being so young, that she's like, I don't even want to hang out with y'all crazy heifers. Like, I'm so cool with just being, with my husband. But I get it. I understand it, because I get it more so now, because I was married before, and that we're not married anymore. And so with now, it's so different when you're married to a man who understands what being a husband really truly is and what that looks like. And I also wanted to say, what Carrie was saying, the two separate commands: husbands, love your wives; wives, respect your husbands. They're two separate commands. They're kind of the things that it's the hardest for us to do. I think that's why God said it. You know what I mean? Because it is let a man come around a woman that we don't respect. We will run all over you. We want a man. It is in us to when a man is a leader, that's why women love men that are powerful men, because we want leaders. We want to know that when we flip on that light, that the children and us, there will be light when you flip, when you
Yes.
flip the light switch. We want to know that. I mean, that gives us security. It makes us feel protected, you know, but at the same time, if we want his provision and protection, he needs respect. You know, so it's like this give and take where we serve him, you know, when we show him love, or when we show him respect, I'm sorry, he gives us love in return. Like, and it's just this beautiful, you know, puzzle piece, dance, if you want to call it, that just comes together. Like when you do it God's way, this amazing thing happens. Right. It works. And you're kind of happy. Now, you're very happy, actually. And I just think that, you know, hearing that young lady say all of that, it's kind of like jarring to the system, because you don't really hear young women talk like that. And I would be very curious to what culture she comes from and if that has influenced any of her thinking. That's all. You're muted, Jason.
Let's keep this going. Sorry about that.
Oh my God. She made me laugh when she said that. It's like, it's so stupid. Like they on this journey. She's absolutely right, by the way. That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, what the hell? And but then they'll try to shame you and make you feel like, oh my God, I don't like these women who are so male-centered. Y'all, girl, please get the hell up out. Male, like, no, y'all single and miserable and trying to bring everybody down with you. This lady in this video is absolutely right. And that's exactly how I feel. But, you know, I have a husband. You know what I'm saying? It's like the women who have husbands and are not out here complaining about men kind of have similar thoughts. The independent, boss chick, single, miserable women don't understand it. Because once again, they want to push this narrative that, oh, you need to be independent. You need to do this. You need to do this by yourself. Why do I want to? I don't want to do it by myself. How about that? And a lot of them don't want to do it by themselves either. But they still want to have this independent life to do what they want because that's what they're accustomed to. But they want a man to come in and just pay them. They just want a man to pay all the bills. That's it. You don't want to really build with somebody and grow with the man and love the man. You just want him to pay your shit. Those of us who are married and understand working together with our husbands and building with our husbands, we look at it differently because we've experienced it and we have it. So I just, you know, and I'm just saying, like, it's a mentality, but they try to convince people, oh my God, you got to have your own autonomy and do this. Look, as married people, we are an individual person, but we're not independent of our husbands. At least I'm not independent of my husband. No, we work together. I'm not my own person. I mean, as far as living my own life outside of my husband, that don't make no sense. Like she said, what's the sense of having a husband if you're living independent of him? You know what I mean? We need each other. We do things together as a collective. Working together is how you make it work. That's the whole point of having a husband and a wife together and building a family. You know, I don't need to go outside of that and do something on my own. Not saying that I can't do things. I already know that. Not saying that I can't do anything I can't go to the store without my husband. No, I can't do things as a person. That's not saying that I can't do that. And I think this way they get it misconstrued. Oh my God, you got a husband, you can't do it. Okay, yeah, I can do things if I want to, but I choose not to.
Let me jump up on here. Let's do this real quick. Thank you so much to Dee Dee Reactions. This is her video that we are riffing off of and using as our springboard. She does a segment where she's basically audio. She's speaking over some clips of her talking. So somebody was asking who's talking. Is Dee Dee talking? But she just has a montage. And I apologize for that. Maybe I should have. I like her content, and I thought she did a great job.
She did.
I guess I just kind of grew comfortable with it. I just want to say, I can't say amen enough to what she's saying. Like, you know, having somebody that you're rocking with, you know, that we're working together to accomplish something with our children, with our families, and so on and so forth is fantastic. And I think that it should not be shunned. It should not be. We need to normalize it again. We need to bring this back into the forefront of society. Having intact families that are men and women that are working this out. Nobody's perfect, so just let it go. So we're just working through whatever we're working through. We used to joke about all the time. Don't nobody want you, girl. Don't nobody want me. We might as well just figure it out together. So we just gonna figure it out right here. So we just gonna sit right here and figure it out. So that being the case, I think that would be beneficial. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let y'all go. Who wants to go? I'm gonna kick it to Celeste. You want to go?
I agree with the idea. There is no point in getting married if that person isn't going to be your best friend and isn't the first person you want to speak to in the morning and the last person that you want to speak to at night. I don't see how you go through all of the things that life is going to demand of you unless you're, sort of clinging to that. It's got to be you and him against the world. I mean, that's basically every day you got to start out like in a huddle. Okay. So that just makes perfect sense. I think that, and I think most people who actually are married and stay married know that, and that's normal. We've turned this into some kind of big mystery. And it's only because so many of us aren't married and don't have that experience and don't know that we're mystifying that. But the truth is, this is the normal way to live. And this is the way people are normally living. And it's not oh my God, they're not giraffes. Did you see them? They're married. They work together. He's
They like
married.
each other.
He went
Why
to
did
the
giraffes
grocery
get into
store.
How did giraffes get into the chat? What are we doing with giraffes?
Because they're like,
It's not an unexpected vision. This is normal life. So I'm actually
I
with
got
you
you.
very much on this, Jay Witt, in the sense that we have to come back and normalize it because they have actually made this like, do you see married people in the wild? And
Got you.
marriage is so mystifying and so hard to get with someone. It's so hard. And to be honest, I think there's truth to that now. I think it is hard for people to meet each other. I think there are barriers, there's social media, there's all types of things that can get in the way of what used to be a very simple, very normal proposition. Boy met girl, boy liked girl, boy spoke to girl, gave phone number. I mean, we all know the routine. It was not a big deal. Now people need a matchmaker and they've got to get online and they've got to do all of these extraordinary hoops because we've created a system, I think very much, Carrie, like you were saying, where they've just put all of these barriers in the way so that they could turn what was normal upside down and make it this big, difficult proposition. And it probably isn't that at all.
It's not. It's not. We make it harder than what it really is. I mean, we do that with a lot of stuff, though, don't we? We make a lot of stuff harder. And no shade to the women, but a lot of times it's the women men are just different. Men, they
not
don't.
Difficult.
Yeah, they're not as difficult. They don't really have all these. I don't think men, and I'm not. Come for me if you want. I'm gonna be like,
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm ready for you.
QuishaKing.com. Okay, but
What you about to say? I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight.
That men have kind of stuck in a way. They have stuck closer to. They're not as far removed from God's design as women
No, they're
are.
not.
I really feel like that. And if they are more easily, they easily understand how to come back because they're locked. They just don't think with all of the emotion like we do. If you show a man something typically that makes sense, it's logical, like this is the way, they're like, oh, okay, let's go with that. on the other hand, us, we need, you know, we got some of the academics, because a lot of us are going to school now. So we got to, well, you know, this book that we read and, you know, the Enlightenment period and all of this kind of stuff. Like, we bring in all of this other stuff that has nothing to do with, you know, what we're talking about. And like, as much, let's take the, you know, Black Americans, for example. We have, it's like 70 something percent single mother led home, whatever.
Right.
And out of all this data, out of all the families, out of all the chaos that we see, we literally see it with our own eyes. You still have a lot of Black American women who will be like, you know what? No, I still want to do it by myself. I mean, it's like, but men are like, I'm not doing this. I'm getting screwed in the court system. I'm getting screwed, you know, I'm getting screwed in all these different areas. And they're kind of like, I don't even want to do this. Women want to do it, but we want to do it in our way and not the best way, which is God's way, which is the man leads. And, you know, he leads us and the family. But women today, we don't want to have any of that. We want to be in the place of the man. We want to take on the toxic patriarchy. It's like, no, I don't want the, you know, I want the system, but I just want to run it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I just find that men.
Let me jump on that.
Yes.
Let me jump on that. No, because I think you make a great point. God created man and woman. He created marriage. Marriage is not an institution that man made up. I promise you, no guys were sitting around saying, hey, I got an idea. How about we just link up with just one of them and we just raise that, you know, live with that one and we just create kids with that one. What a great idea. That's a great idea. What you think, Rock? I think it's a great idea. What do you think about that, Igor? Yeah, let's go.
Igor.
God came up with that. But I think the issue is that the actual world still operates in an idea, not humans, but like nature itself operates where there are really bad things out there that you need men to be strong and ready to tackle, whether it be a bear or a tree falling or just nature in itself. So the conflict is that when men are not in their position, men can, to answer your question or to help you with your example that you gave, Quisha. For example, if there's a big storm and trees are down left, right, and center, everybody knows that there are going to be men that are going to get those trees taken care of. So even if the men were out of place 10 minutes ago, once some trees are down and power's out and they're in the house with their wife and kids going crazy and it was all out of order, they're going to quickly get in order. They're going to find a chainsaw. They're going to find an axe. They're going to find a pickup truck. They're going to find a wheelbarrow, and they're going to get involved and help to get this matter resolved, because the world is created in a way, the world operates still in a way that men have to step up to the plate.
That's right.
Because if we said but back to the example, when families are all out of order, it's a lot harder because women are, I mean, God did say in Genesis chapter 3 that your desire will be for your husband, and he meant for their position, their role.
Right.
So it's hard for them to relinquish that role, but it's very easy once the world gets involved. Once bad people start doing bad things, women start looking for men to do bad things to bad people. Right? I mean, that's what you want. So you might be when late at night, when your door gets kicked in, you want toxic masculinity on the other side of that door. You might, you see what I'm saying?
I want the toxic masculinity.
You want the
toxic masculinity with the spider in the bathroom.
Right. There we go. See what I'm saying?
It doesn't even have to be a big thing.
It just, but see, it very quickly people get into roles real quick. Let somebody come kicking on your door. Let there be a spider in your bathroom. Let there be something bad. Get a flat tire. All of a sudden, the patriarchy goes away. All of a sudden, the toxic. All of a sudden, everything gets right in order. Everything was going all crazy, cattywampus. Let a tree fall and knock down your power line. Bam! Everybody's in order.
Amazing.
Mom is like, because let it be 2 degrees outside. And I promise you, I don't care how out of order my wife and kids are. Let it be 2 degrees outside and the power go out. their behavior is going to change significantly, almost instantaneously. It's almost as if God has created it in that way that it requires me to do the things that need to be done.
Yes.
And
I love it.
I tell my daughters all the time, don't Dad might not run very fast, but I promise you'll be sad that you caught me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Let me put my hands on you. And they're aware of that. They're aware of that. Like, you know what? Yeah. So Dad will do bad things for bad people, and they know that. So there we go.
There was I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Whatever podcast. You have to excuse the language, but they do make valid points sometimes. And they played, it was one of the shows that Andrew Wilson was on, and they played this montage of clips. The beginning was a woman saying, women can do anything a man can do. And then they went on to show the most gross, is that even the way to say it? The grossest jobs, not even gross. It's like, I don't want to get in the sewer with the rats.
With the bugs
and then
crawling all over.
And then they showed the oil.
I didn't want to get in there.
The oil workers, and then underwater welding. Okay. And then I don't want to walk on the beams to build whatever bridge is coming or whatever skyscrapers. Like, men are the ones who we're calling to do that. If the building is burning, do you want Edie to show up? Or do you want Jason to show up? I'm not going to help you, sir. Listen.
You're exactly
We're both going to die. Like, I'm coming in to get you, but we're both dead. Okay. I'm not going to be able to help you.
It's a wrap.
I'm not going to be able to help you. Okay. That's what I'm
Don't
saying.
you,
Like,
don't
women,
you, Edie? Don't you remember during the California wildfires though, the lesbian fire chief, DEI?
No, stop.
Yeah, and she
Don't
was
you
like,
bring her.
she said, "Hey, when you're in a house fire, you want a fire person to show up who looks like you."
No, I don't.
You're exactly
I don't
right.
want you to look the
did say
opposite
that.
of me. And I want you
did.
to have different chromosomes. And I want you to come in and get me. And I want you to throw me on the helicopter and get me out of there. I don't want.
Listen, I don't
tiny
even like
firefighter.
women doing my tech support. I will hang up and call back.
Dang.
Keisha,
No,
Dang.
I'm sorry. I'm
Like,
sorry.
ask.
We can call it
Ask about
stereotypes. It doesn't matter. We're past it. We're past it. If I'm calling 911, please send a man. Please send a man.
I'm just imagining my house on fire and Edie shows up
Oh, can
in
you
your
imagine?
fabulous fur
In her
coat.
I've come to plan your funeral because I'm not getting you out. Nobody's leaving this house.
Absolutely
If
not. I'm not
here.
even going in. I'm
Once
not
you-
even
Right, you're in
going
trouble.
to try. As soon as they put the ladder up, I'm like, how high is that? I'm already saying this is a bad, this is not going to
Like,
work. I don't.
My mother calls me sometimes. So my stepdad, a veteran, thank you, Dad, for your service, paralyzed on one side, and sometimes he slips out of his chair. Okay, and my mom calls me. Okay, so I show up just to make him feel better. I'm like calling the paramedics on the way there. I can't lift him, Mom. He might be teeny tiny, but I can't lift. Then I call the paramedics, and they show up, and I'm saluting them. Why am I saluting them? Thank you, firefighters and paramedics, for coming in and doing the job that I cannot do. I cannot lift him. Like, Mom, call the paramedics. I just wanted to give that tidbit. I don't even know why I mentioned it, but
I actually wrote about this in my book,
good.
and I said that this is one of the issues. Is we're not asking people to do what they can do. What we should be doing as a society is asking people what they're most suited to do. So even though I might be able to get a ladder and reach the top shelf to get to a bowl, I can do that. But the truth is, my husband, that's 6'2", that can easily just take his arm and pull the bowl down, is best suited to do that. And we have people operating on what they can do, but not what they are best suited to do.
I love it. Great catch.
Yes,
All right,
reach
let's
with
bring
that.
Dee Dee back in here. I apologize that yes, she's talking and the different miles are going, so y'all can work with it. Come on.
I'm not on this mission to prove something. And I think that's what a lot of women are, on a mission to prove that they can do. I don't need to prove that. And I think that's where women go wrong when they're looking for relationships and when they're in relationships. A lot of times when you think you have to prove something to your person or prove, I don't know, that you can do, I don't know. But it's not a good look. It's really not. Let's continue.
Feminism is not the issue, but what it's turned into is the original fight was for equality.
votes, jobs, and just mutual respect. But somewhere along the way, equality morphed into superiority. Now, women are told, you don't need a man. Depending on him, it makes you weak. Be soft and nurturing, that's betrayal. Femininity was never weakness. But when women started trying to outman men, the polarity disappeared. No push, no pull, no leadership, no trust, just two people fighting for control, wondering why the attraction is dead. Men aren't disgusted by women. They're disgusted by the distortion, the constant anger, the victimhood, the competition. Masculine energy in women is repulsive to high-value masculine men. It just doesn't work. Real men don't want to battle their woman. They want to build with her. They want the woman who can lead her own ambitions and still soften in his arms at night, because strength and softness can still coexist. It should be able to. Masculine energy brings structure, protection, and direction. Feminine energy brings warmth, intuition, and life. You remove one, you get chaos. You fake one, and you get resentment. Feminism wasn't freedom. It was a tax scam. Shove women into offices, twice the work, twice the cash for Uncle Sam, pump up her paychecks, sell her cars, daycare, happy pills, then throw the kids in a brainwash center, aka schools, while mom and dad grind 60-hour weeks, too wiped to see the family's actually been robbed. The goal was never to dominate each other. It was to balance each other out, to make each other better. When masculine and feminine move in harmony, your love thrives and legacies last lifetimes. Ladies.
All right, I got to stop because I want to say something about that. God in his infinite wisdom said, I will make a help meet for the man. He did not say that he was going to make the man a help compete. You were called to complete the man. And again, I'm sorry. And that's only yet another reason why you know that the alphabet mafia and the sexual perversion that we've seen in society is a complete and total farce, is because we see it. You see it in 4K. You just want to deny it. And I'm sorry, it's going to keep staring you in the face every time that my wife compliments me. And some of the things, again, and you see it especially when you introduce little people or smaller family members, because they know how dad gets down. They know how dad fusses. They also know how to get dad to behave right. Hey, why don't I call mom first? Or let me talk to mom first. And then mom will talk to dad. And dad will say, I can go on spring break with my friends and blah, blah, blah. No, you're not. You can bring your butt on home. But I know what she's trying to do. But they know that. And they ultimately know that I'm working for their good. So that's my point. Okay, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to get out of here. Go.
I think what we're teetering on, which I think the next, or might not be the next clip or the next clip, I see where this woman was trying to go. It gets dicey when you start talking about feminine energy, because then you get into the divine feminine, which is not, that's a new age hippy dippy thing, which is really like
I got you.
Women's like creator energy, whatever. But I think I've been talking a lot. Celeste, did you want to take this?
Oh gosh, I was listening to that. No, I liked her. I thought, maybe absent the divine feminine thing, which I kind of didn't catch that. I was sort of on the whole, this is what the compliment is, and this is what happens when you actually can establish some balance. And obviously everybody's going to thrive when there's balance. And I think, like, kind of like I said earlier, the situation that we're in is not good for women. That's clear. It's also not good for men. Nobody is thriving when everybody's out of order.
Right.
It's not good. And we've got to somehow, I really appreciate Carrie's point in this upside down. We've got to somehow turn it right side up. And I think the first thing we have to do is, where and when we can, be examples of what it is we say. That's the first thing, because if you live it, then you can be, you can show other people that it can be lived.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and bring in the next segment if nobody else wants to jump on anything. All right, here it comes.
Feminism lied to us, and we just ate it up. They told us that rebellion was power, but all it gave us was confusion, burnout, and situationships. In the eyes of feminists, you don't need no man, right? Okay, but why are you secretly craving love, stability, and protection? So somehow obeying God became oppressive, while being overworked,
over-sexualized and overlooked became empowerment. Please make it make sense.
Feminism sold us the biggest scam of our generation. They told us we were empowered.
Was there anything you wanted to say on that, or you want to let this one keep cooking?
That's fine.
I'm just amening.
Okay. Amen in the chat. I love it. Go ahead, amen in the chat. Let's go.
But what did we actually get? Burnout, debt, stress, a double life where we work like men and still carry the entire home on our backs. And here's the truth nobody's talking about. Feminism didn't set women free. It trapped us in a masculine system that we were never designed for. They told us to compete with men, to lead like men, to talk, think, act like men. And now we're exhausted. We're disconnected.
Like men. Make sure you act like men, baby. Like men.
Resentful and wondering why nothing feels right. We don't need more feminism. We need to reclaim the femininity that was stolen from us, because that's where a woman's real power has always been. In softness, in harmony, emotional intelligence, intuition, influence, not in becoming a copy of the men we were created to complement.
Ladies.
All right. Where y'all at? Because this one right here she goes hard. So I'm gonna stop before she goes in. And to the point, Edie, I think also, or I think it was Carrie, the woman before with the feminine energy. I translated what she was saying, kind of like what this young lady was saying. So that's why I didn't say anything about it, because I was thinking I understood femininity. I did not immediately jump on the feminine energy part.
Oh, okay.
But that's why I didn't, because I was thinking kind of like what this young lady, the last young lady was saying. So that's where my mindset was. But anyway, what do y'all think about that part? Femininity was a scam. It tricked us. It tired them out. All that kind of stuff like
Feminism?
that. Feminism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Is that what? Okay.
Yeah, I work in corporate America, as I've mentioned many times before, and it is very, I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, praise God for the job, but before I was saved and I wanted to make that money or whatever. I look back and I feel like I was masculine in a way, I had to be tough. You had to go into the office tough and had to have kind of a cutthroat mentality, always trying to outperform everybody because I wanted to be number one, and always working, trying to do the most to beat everybody else in the group. But that, I look back now, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of a masculine trait. And now I don't even care to do that. Like, I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability, but I don't have that, I don't even know, bloodlust for it, to like do or die in corporate America.
I got you.
That is so true. One of the things that I had to learn or unlearn was that I think with that independent woman, I don't need a man, or if I get one, I still got to kind of be looking out for myself because you can't really trust them, or just like all of the cultural stuff that you take on as a young woman. When God was literally like taking this stuff out of me, and that's what I learned. I don't think a lot of men. We think, like, I'll speak for myself. Growing up, it was like all men want, they just want sex, basically give them sex and, try to make it good. And then you got them, and it's like, that don't work. They're a little bit more complex than that. You know what I mean? Like they actually don't, like the woman that they want to marry. That is not what they want. They actually want, I think, I forget who said it, maybe Carrie or I forget who said it, but talking about the idea, Lord have mercy, y'all, I'm going through period.
They want to be respected.
That's all right.
No,
but they
want like a soft,
they want to be respected, but we have abandoned a lot of the natural thing. We were not, I'm sorry, not abandoned. We were never taught the things that men actually want.
That's very true.
To make a happy home too. Because I saw in the chat, like someone said, well, men leave, they leave and they leave you, it's, they basically make it hard to stay in a marriage. And it's like, I think a lot of women we don't really understand. We have this power this idea of the powerful woman. We're the most educated. We're buying the houses. We're doing all this stuff. We can be just like the man, but it's not real. Like we can't really do these things outside of a world that men have created. Like we can boast and say all this stuff and be up here chatting on the internet and doing all these things because because the men have actually created this comfort that we get to live in and complain about.
Right.
You know, and
The
it's
nerve.
like we are complaining about a world and about men who have made this world, but yet we want to take it over. And this is where I was going. In that wanting to take over comes this aggression. And, you know, as I was going through all of this and, you know, guys showing me how I was actually kind of an aggressive, you know, woman, it just hit me one day like, your husband doesn't want a man in a dress. And I noticed that when you come to a man in an aggressive way, in a masculine way, I think it kind of confuses their brain because they're looking at you. They're like, okay, this is a woman. I am to treat her a particular way, to care for her, to love her, to, you know, but she's coming at me in this aggressive man-like, and when I met with that type of energy, I respond a different way than what you like. See, the woman in you, the feminine woman in you, doesn't like how a man responds to masculine aggression, to masculine energy, because men respond with they're going to meet that and probably exceed it because they're going to want to conquer it. They're going to want to take it down because it's a threat. And so we're like, why is he coming at me? Like, why is he talking to me like that? Why? And we're like, our feelings are hurt and we're like, don't talk to me that way. But you're coming at him.
You're acting like a man.
You're acting like a man, and men are designed to respond to aggressive men in a certain way. But he's looking at you as a woman, but you're coming in this energy that's not feminine. And it's like, you're like,
ooh, that's a good point.
Trigger in this brain. It's like, wait a minute, I'm about to smack you, but I can't because you know what I mean?
If you were a man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is really a retraining of our mind, renewing our mind as women to take the time to learn men. There was so much content. There's so many biblical, really good teaching on how marriages and relationships thrive. Take the time to learn and understand men, because they're a bit more there's a lot more to them than they just want the sex. You know, it's so much more than that. You know, and it will bless you to be able to you know, not only just understand your husband, but it will help you if you're not married and you want to be. It will help you be found, honey. I'm telling you, if you understand how the man operates, it actually helps you.
Amen.
I'm telling you, y'all, he worked this thing out so good.
Yes.
If you understand him, it will help you understand you.
Well, that
because
makes
you're the
sense.
helper to him. So if you understand that, you will better fit into, you know, what he needs. And it will also help you to be found if you understand how men operate, what they like, what they need. It is some of these things are not wants for men. They are actual needs that they have to have for them to function in the leader way that you need them to function. So it helps you at the end of the day. If you can support your husband, your man, or the man that you're interested in, if you support him in the biblical way that we are to support them, it actually benefits your life. Yo, I'm telling you, God hooked this thing up so good. You're like, you start doing these things and start changing the way you see it. And it's like things just fall into place. It's kind of like a miracle. It's like
God.
It
Yes.
just works. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, but
Let me jump on that real quick. Let me just say, and not to make like, hey, bringing two people together mystically, magically makes everything right. I do think that there's the third complement. I mean, the most important ingredient, which is that these people must be oriented toward Christ. And the more I am in, that does in fact that makes everything that Quisha said 100% accurate and true. So let's not miss the missing ingredient. It's kind of like, how did you make that stock trade? And there's a little missing ingredient that people don't know that makes a huge, a monstrous difference. So that would be my only addition to that. But thank you so much for that, Quisha.
oh yes, I'm talking about saved people. I'm talking about
Yeah, for sure.
people who love the Lord.
All right, let's finish this up.
Let's get into it. Being sexual does not make you feminine. I repeat, being sexual does not make you feminine. Family, I gotta keep it real. I see women today objectifying themselves, then getting mad at men for objectifying them, thinking that that's what it means to be feminine. And family, that ain't it. Plus, the type of man that you attract by showing your Gucci gotcha, sis, that ain't the man that you want. Trust me, that's culture lying to us. That's not God. True femininity, at Proverbs 31, says it's humility, integrity, her strength, discipline, and dignity is what defines a feminine woman. Let me keep it real. If you lead with your body, you can't get mad when that's all man sees. You can't plant seeds in the flesh and then expect to reap in the spirit. Galatians 6:8. And come on, family, let's be real. The streets are only fun for at max a season. And I'm stretching it with that. Proverbs 14:12 says this. There's a way that seems right, but in the end, it leads to destruction. Sis, you were created to be so much more than somebody's appetizer. Just something or someone to hold them over while they're still searching the menu, trying to figure out what they want to order. Don't trade fake attention for the real love your soul craves. God's way is better. His way leads to life and peace. Romans 8:6. Let's get back to that.
Viral.
I like
All
it.
right, go ahead and cook. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to cook. Let's go ahead. 30 seconds. Go ahead, Edie, cook.
I like she's the best one. I like everything that she said. Yes.
Oh, okay.
She had
The
that
best
fire.
one. I love it.
She said, let's get to it. Yeah. I have nothing. I mean, mic drop. I agree with everything. Co-sign it. Right there.
All right, let's go. Celeste, go.
I like the fact that she said you can't sow seeds in the flesh and they manifest in the spirit. I thought that was absolutely fabulous. And that is true. And here, and I want to go piggyback a little bit on what Quisha said, because I think Quisha was spot on with this. The truth is you do have to learn men, and this whole idea of men being, men and women are equal is absolutely led to our destruction, because it's the reason why women think that they can have the same sexual relationship and then get the same outcomes that men have. And you cannot. You absolutely cannot. The fact of the matter is, if you are physically entertaining a man who has made no commitment to you, you are recreation. It's just that simple. And if women were taught that, if women were actually told the truth about men, and I'm going to put this on fathers, hopefully they're there, but I'm putting this on fathers because I understand I had a wonderful father. I understand fathers who say, well, I know, what that boy's thinking of, or I know all of the things that they say. But what they're not saying, and mothers too, what they're not saying is you have to decide whether you want to be some man's recreation. Because at the end of the day, that is all you will end up being. It does not, you can love him. He can even love you. Not the point. Not the point. It is not about love. It is about commitment and sacrifice. Is he willing to commit to you? Is he willing to sacrifice? And is that the price that you require for your body? Women are never really this is never discussed with women, because we are living in a world where everybody is trying to tell women that they are the same as men. And men want to benefit from that. Now I'm gonna speak about men now. Men want to benefit from that sexually, but they want to complain about that when they're ready to marry. The fact of the matter is, if you want women to be what you say you want them to be, and if women want men to approach them and treat them the way they want to, and to be considered as a wife, you are going to have to stop allowing yourself to be these men's recreation. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. And in the end, that is going to work out far better for him than it's ever going to work out for you, because you are biologically designed for that to not work. If you have a physical relationship with a man, there is a chemical that's released into your body,
Oxytocin.
toxin is released in your body that stays in your body like 96 hours after the event. That same chemical is released in the man's body, and it stays in his body about 15 minutes after the event. So you walk away with feelings of closeness and bonding and attraction and all of that. And you can hold on to, you are chemically, it's not even your choice. Your body is being flooded with a chemical that makes you desire him long after the event. That chemical has shut down for him. If he sneezes 2 times in a row, it's over. His feelings for you of closeness and attraction, all of that goes away right after that. You are not built to be rolling around and recreating with these men. You cannot chemically handle it. You are designed, you are antithetically for this activity. This is why you really should be waiting for your husband. Because you really should only be walking around with 96 hours of feelings of love for somebody who actually cares about you, and those feelings didn't disappear for him 15 minutes later. We have got to start telling women the truth.
Yes.
We are very good at denigrating women for all of the mistakes that we make, but we are not very good at telling women how we set them up to make all those mistakes.
It's freedom, Celeste, for these women. It's freedom to be sexually liberated. I don't know. Are we allowed to say the S word on here?
It is until
freedom.
After 15 minutes.
Yeah,
when you rolled the other way and went to sleep.
Exactly.
And you like, why?
I always tell my daughters, don't take advice from broke people.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at the people who are giving you advice. If they're giving you advice about a topic that they themselves are not intimately involved in, don't take that advice. Don't take it.
So that chemical, I just want to piggyback on that, Celeste, because this is something that struck me as a relatively new Christian, is especially for people who, I know a lot of atheists right now who are for the first time contemplating whether God is real or wanting God to be real and praying about it, which is amazing. Praise God, right? But one thing I've talked to these friends about is like, when you're reading about, there are certain things, especially if you're coming like I did, where I was out in the wilderness for decades. I was out in some other fake, this woke cult religion, coming out of the secular world and finding Christ late in life. For all those years, I had accepted the world's version of like, hey, the Bible is like this restrictive list of things you can't do from an authoritative God, like this authoritarian God. And it's like, trying to harsh your fun and your freedom. And then when you start reading it and you're like, whoa, it's actually these boundaries that God is trying to help you have the best, most fruitful life, and giving you these boundaries that allows for flourishing and freedom. So you don't have to go out into the wilderness and make all these mistakes and learn the hard way, the best way to live, right? So he's like laying these things out. And one of those things I didn't used to understand. I was like, well, why is it so important that you wait until marriage to have sex, right? Like, why did he just... And the thing I tell people who are new Christians or are just starting to open their heart to the possibility of God is like, once you become a Christian, you don't have to understand the why of everything. It's almost impossible. We're not God. We're just humans. So there are things I still don't understand the why of, but you learn to have faith in God because there are some things that he does reveal the why to you a little bit. And one of those was that what you said, Celeste. When I heard about, like, oxytocin is the bonding hormone. Our bodies
Yes.
also release it when you're breastfeeding.
Yes.
You're bonding with your baby. It's the physical touch hormone. And so exactly what you were saying. I know so many women who the world is telling them to go out and have sex with lots of people, and they're developing bonding hormones, like feelings of emotion for these D-bags. I'm sorry for my language. I'm so sorry for these jerks, these douchebags who are not, they would never choose this person to be with for life, but they think they can just have no strings attached. There's a very popular singer. I'm blanking her name because I'm old, but all the kids love her. She's got that song Pink Pony Club. Anyway.
Chappell Roan.
Yes. Chappell
Chappell Roan. Yeah.
Chappell Roan. Okay. There's one of her songs. It's so sad. I almost cried hearing it. And the whole song is her singing about how she's in this relationship with this jerk, and it's supposed to be no strings attached, and she calls it situationship. But the song is her basically mourning and lamenting the fact that she's developed feelings for this guy and doesn't understand why he doesn't have the feelings for her. And she's also acknowledging she went into it with no strings attached. Well, hey, guess what? Your body doesn't care. Your body is made. You are, every time you are having sex with that person, you are bonding with them.
Yes.
That's the way your body's built. That's the way God made you. And so no wonder you fall in love with somebody who's not worth your love, because you're having sex with that person all the time.
And to me, I actually have a heart for this, because I actually feel like this is a horrible, evil setup and game that was played with women. We were put in this situation, and women could be freed if we were told the truth. If women actually knew, you know what, regardless of what you think, the fact of the matter is you are going to submit to biological commands without your consent. If you fall and scrape your knee, you will bleed. You don't have to consent to that. That is a biological command that you will submit to. There are other biological commands that you will submit to as well. And you should be aware of them so that you can make choices that are good for you. And what you will find is, coincidentally or prophetically, those choices will line right up with how you were designed.
Yes. Yes.
Very good.
Can I
Go ahead,
just,
Quisha.
so
Go ahead.
that is heartbreaking, to hear women who you are giving your body in hopes to gain his attention and love and affection and all of this stuff. And it's like, again, it goes back to not understanding how men work. And this is something that I've taught my oldest daughter. Do not, under any circumstances, spend time with a guy who will not commit.
Right.
Correct.
No, because we can't, before the sex even happens, if we spend too much time with one guy and we if we're spending time with you, we like you. But if you spend too much time with him, you're going to like him more.
Yes.
You're going to want to be next to him, all of this stuff. And he could just totally be not even in his thoughts. We are made different. We are not made to be with this one, that one. We get too connected. Like we're like instantly connected. I tell my daughter, if you give a man, it's basically why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free. But I explain it to her like this: if you give a man your time and your femininity, because men love to be around. They like to be around, women. They do. If you are giving this to him, and he's not trying to take it anywhere. He's not trying to be he doesn't see a future with you. He puts you in a compartment. Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. He puts you in a place in his mind.
Yeah.
And
sure.
if you are not in the wife box, baby, you are not getting out of that box. If he has seen you behave in a way that he does not envision his wife to be, I don't know any man that has put you in a box and you end up getting out of that box and becoming a wife. I don't know men. Men are they're not like us. They follow their rules. If they put you in that box, girl, you are not getting out. I don't care what you do. You can drop it like it's hot. You can do backflips, hang from the seat. He's not giving you the ring. If you have shown him that you do not value yourself, he's not going to do it.
Quisha, I say this all the time. I actually would be very interested, and I especially think this for young women, going back to the days where I don't feel like men should have unsupervised access to women. I don't. I am not even interested, particularly young women, because that's all they want is unsupervised access to you for exactly those reasons. Because anytime, I'm not even talking about sexual. It doesn't even have to be that there's a physical relationship. The fact of the matter is, any time he spends near and around you is a benefit to him, but maybe not to you. See, when they used to have to come to the porch and ask for your father's permission to walk you to church or to take you to the local whatever to have dinner or whatever. See, all of that was cut out because your father did all of that work for which you cannot do for yourself. We cannot vet men. We are not able to vet men. A man has to vet a man on your behalf. So if I had young daughters, or if I would tell young women, do not spend any unsupervised time with men because that only benefits him.
I say group date. If you're gonna go out in groups. The pressure's off, and you can get to know the young man, and he can get to know you with no pressure. Groups, go out in groups. But see, these little, like the young kids, first of all, they don't even know how to just have regular conversations anymore because everything's on Instagram and TikTok. So, they don't even they're not even learning how to just regularly date, just to learn how to be around the opposite sex and just it not be any pressure of, all of the sexual, all of that stuff. But they don't even know how to just be friends and just go to the mall. And how kids have to grow up now, there's so many different things that they have to think about. And so one of the things that we encourage, in our home is just, we try to be really hands-on when it comes to this, because we are instilling into them, you are not equipped to handle this by yourself.
Right.
For the girls, we're like, you're gonna get played. Trust me, you're not ready for that. And the young men, our sons, we're like, listen, go out, but we're just trying to be very involved. Talk to us. Tell us what's going on. What do you think? What did they say? How do they we're all up in their business.
Did you give your kids devices? I'm sorry. I just have a question because my husband and I are talking about this a lot lately. Did you give your kids devices like internet and phone and stuff, or did you? And if you did, how involved were you at making sure they weren't stumbling into? Because so many kids today, it seems like, have unfettered access to the internet.
So, in a divorce, one parent might give a phone and the other doesn't. And that's what happened here. So they got phones just a little too early for my taste. However, I'm a little crazy. So I would just, I don't believe in all of that. Privacy and where? Not here. Where? So I would just go and just say, give me the phone. And just start going through it and see what they were doing. No, I'm not telling you. I'm just going to grab it. And so they never knew what, when mom was coming in. And then I'm kind of a little tech I don't like when women do my tech support, even though I'm a little tech savvy myself. So, when they were trying to hide things, and I would find it, but it created opportunities to have really deep conversations. And one of the questions that I asked my children, I think this might be beneficial for a lot of us who have children at any age. What type of woman, what type of man do you want to be? Like when I saw them like kind of going down a road, you know, you take the device, you do all this stuff. And when all of that is over and it kind of settles down, you're like, who do you want to be? Do you want to, you know, and I started having these conversations kind of early, you know, because they're getting into this stuff early.
Right.
And so we would talk a lot about that. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the girl? Because they got friends or people that they see at school or around. Who are the thoughts? Who are the... No, I mean, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Do you want to be this girl? Because let me tell you how they're talking about this girl. This is what they're saying about this girl. They're not going to marry that girl. And I just tried to bring them truth, you know, like just, and I don't know. I think the more conversations you have and talking to them about the realities and instilling the word of God, you might not think that they are listening, but praying over them, instilling the word of God in them early. Early. I really think that has helped, you know, keep our kids out of, you know, a lot of the crazy stuff that some of their friends or their peers go through. But yeah, we're old school, and I am way more old school than my husband. Like I am super old school, but my kids, they come talk to me. They think I'm like, don't you have a friend? Don't you have a friend?
No, you're their friend.
And see, but we think if we press our kids like that, or if we're like all in their business, like they're gonna disown us, and they don't. They don't. They actually appreciate it. They don't say it at the time, but when they get my daughter, she's our oldest is 19. She's doing incredible things. Like we're very proud of her. But I was that parent that everybody tells you not to be. Society tells you not to be. You know, so I am not overbearing, but I don't play with them either. You know, we can laugh, but I am your mother. I am not your friend.
Yes.
I'm your mother. And so, you know, we have our roles defined. And here's what I'm here to do. And I'm not gonna let you fall. I'm your biggest advocate. I used to tell them this all the time because I wanted them to know you can come to me. I'm not going to play with you. Don't disrespect me. You know, all of these things. Don't disrespect your father. You know, all of the things I need to know. But I want you to come to me. You know, come to us so we can help you navigate these things. And we really do see the fruit of that, you know, in their lives. They do come and talk to us, you know.
You know, I think one of the problems that has come from feminism is now, so the feminists are, some of them are parents themselves now to young women. And a big thing is, because I watch a lot of podcasts where they have conflicting views, right? So you'll have a feminist parent and you have a conservative parent, and the feminist parent will condemn purity culture. Okay. And I do think purity culture, everything can be toxic if extremes are, you know, whatever. What am I trying to say? So now those parents are afraid to have any conversations with their girls and their boys because they don't want them to feel shame with their body. They want them to feel, you know, free to express themselves. Your body is a wonderful thing. Express your body. And so that's one of the toxic things that has come from feminism. Now, I grew up with my grandmother, and when Celeste was talking about how you need to bring back like courting, right, and chaperone dates and everything, I was reminded. My grandmother, old school, right? So she told me a story as far back as I can remember, one of the earliest stories. And she met my grandfather. He was years older than her. He took her to the Putney Tower. Now, for those watching, Putney is a ghost town in West Virginia now. That's how far back this is. Took her to the Putney Tower, tried to touch her leg. And she said, I don't, you know, you can't touch my leg. And she said, I bet you don't like me anymore. And he said, I like you a whole lot more. And that story stuck with me, and she was never there was never shame attached to it, like, oh, if you were to go on a date and let a boy touch your leg, whatever, there was no shame. But she taught me to honor my body, and I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that with your children and talking to your children about that. There's nothing shameful about it. That's not trying to make them feel bad or make them feel, I don't think children should feel shame about their body. You have age appropriate conversations with your children when needed, but absolutely, let's teach honor. Like, girls, yes, your body is like, take it back to scripture. My granny was a God-fearing woman, and she would point out the ways that, I mean, God loves women. The way he talks about women in his word is remarkable. It's so beautiful. And we shouldn't be afraid to have those conversations. And one thing that feminism has done has made it taboo to teach women and teach girls to honor their bodies, so that other people will respect them and honor their bodies as well.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we're going to finish these bases real quick so that we can respect everybody's time. I'm going to try to let this one go.
Attention for sharing her regrets about ditching the idea of marriage and family. Now, her article in Business Insider reads, quote, "I'm 38 and single, and I recently realized I want a child. I'm terrified that I've missed my opportunity." That woman's name is Melissa Persling, and she's revealing to Fox News Digital what she thinks caused her current situation. Listen.
I feel unbelievably betrayed by feminism. I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't really need men. Women can have the great career and have the kids that they like and change the tires and do this. I mean, I grew up thinking, and men are great, but like, I can do all the same things. I do feel in many ways betrayed by that line of thinking. I kind of want to go back to some of those teachers and coaches and say, what the hell did you mean by that? Because women can't do it all. We can't.
Katrina, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I'm going to go deep here. So I have a lot of opinion on this, and I really think that feminism in some ways has really sabotaged women's happiness. And the reason I believe that is because we are asked to do all these different things, right? But then our nervous system goes whack. Like, I know for myself, I'm in work mode and then mother mode and then family mode, right? And so your system just completely goes out of whack, which is why I truly believe, and I found this quote and I thought it was so telling, is that the divine feminine is the rawest, wildest, and most honest mirror a man will ever encounter. The awakened man opens his heart and goes to battle. He will tame his dragons and face his deepest shadows, since he knows that deep within, her heart will guide him home. And I think that there is a beautiful balance between the feminine and the masculine energy. And I know that as a woman, regardless of what any woman says, I think she wants to feel safe with a man, and she wants to be able to feel her feminine energy, but it's very difficult to go into that space when you're trying to fulfill all these different roles, which is what I think this woman is feeling right now, which is what I think a lot of women, right, in very powerful positions are feeling. And then there's this idea that if you're powerful, you can't be, you know, a beautiful wife or a beautiful mother. And so I think we need to go back to really the way God designed us to be, which is, as women, we need men. And it makes for a beautiful balance.
Ooh, baby. Oh my God. Listen. They gonna realize it one way or another, that we need each other. We need men. Women need men. We need each other. We're designed for each other. And I think, you know, it's got to come back around, because sometimes things have to get so bad before they get better. And I think, once again, this narrative that, oh, women don't need a man and you can do it all by yourself, it's rearing its ugly head. It's showing how this is not how it was meant to be, and how it has taken an effect on a lot of these women who think this way. And I do think a lot of women have been tricked into believing that this whole feminist independent movement is what they should be and what they should be doing. But now they're seeing the effects of it, and they're still not getting it. And they still, some women are still not getting it, and they're like in denial, like, oh my God. And they just thought that this was going to be a situation where they could, you know, tout the fact that they're independent, they don't need a man, and they got an education, and they're so educated in this, and then the men, and then they could just pick the men up on the back end. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm a boss chick now, and I'm so great at and who I am and what I do, and I don't really need you, but you know what? I do want you, but I just had to build myself up to show you I don't need you. And using that rhetoric and thinking that way is the very thing that's driving men away.
Oh my God.
Because they flipped the script. You telling a man you don't need him, you think that it makes him feel more endeared to you and make him want to be with you? No, it does the opposite. Because men are designed and taught to that they should be protectors and providers of their families. If they don't have that role, and if they can't fulfill that role because you're telling them you're better and you got this and you don't really need them for shit, but I want you to just tag behind me. That's not how most men want to operate, baby. And this is what women like to say. Oh, they're sassy and they're feminine and they're weak and they're this and they're and all of this because they don't want to follow your lead. But you want them to follow your lead, but you still want them to bring everything to the table. That's the funny part. What is the sense? What is the purpose of a woman being super successful and making her own money, but still wants a man to come in and pay for everything and do everything in a traditional way when you can't offer him that traditional woman that he's looking for. If you're the boss in the relationship for real, you're running the show as the woman. What incentive would it be for a man to come into that? And I don't think women understand it. They're changing the dynamics and they're messing up the order of things, and then it's trying to force it and make it work when it's just not going to work for the most part. But listen, I thought this was an interesting topic and video. I want you guys to chime in. Let me know your thoughts on this particular video. Chime in, leave your comments, leave your thoughts.
All right, I'm gonna end there. Shout out to Dee Reacts. All right, so that was the end of it. All right, I saw y'all in the back in the green room. There was some finger snapping and some head wagging. So go ahead, Quisha, tell us what you thought. Let's go.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I agree. We were lied to by feminism, by this idea of feminism. I'm, I guess, kind of radical. I think the whole thing was a sham. I don't think it was really to free us of anything or give us some rights that we secretly wanted. Like I said in the beginning, when you really dig into it, a lot of it came from the occult. It just wasn't what they said that they were trying to do, wasn't even what they were trying to do. And many of the women didn't want it. It wasn't organic. Just like I think Celeste mentioned, these social movements, they're supposed to be organic. The feminist movement wasn't either. And so, I guess a few points, understand you're a man, understand men, teach your children what once you get an understanding, talk to them so they don't fall into the same things that you did, and truly don't lean into your own understanding, ladies. Lean on the Lord's, because you are not qualified to lead your own life. I'm telling you now. I promise you. Look, just look back, and I'm telling you, as someone who also is not qualified, okay? I get my qualification comes from God because I screwed it up big time. Okay. And so do not lean into your own understing. That if I can leave you with that is what I would say.
I love it. I love it. All right, because I know we've gone long, and y'all are not used to doing 5-hour live streams, so I'm not gonna hold you. Celeste, go ahead, because I know you need to get ready to go.
I will see you guys later. Thanks.
Bye,
so
Quisha.
much.
Thank you, love.
Bye.
Bye now. Thank you for coming through.
Bye.
All right, all my team's gonna be dropping off slowly but surely. Go ahead, Celeste. You about to diss me too, so go ahead.
So, first of all, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. This was fun.
Yeah, this was great, and I'm so happy to have met these ladies and had a chance to really, chop it up a little bit. And this was very good. I would say I wanted to answer the question I believe someone asked, which is
I didn't want to hold you hostage, but because I was hoping we could have got to this one. This was a great question. You want to use this as your outro?
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do think that we have an opportunity specifically with young women, but with all women and all people in general, which is to really explain the truth to women about who they are. And in fact, what you are is somebody that has lots of capacities, but you also have some limitations. And that's the truth for all human beings. Nobody can do everything all the time. So the trick to having a good life is learning what your capacities are and maximizing those, and learning how to adjust your life to your limitations. And I think if we can tell women the truth about who they actually are and stop sending them out into the world believing that there's something and someone they're not, they can have far better lives. And the better lives that they have are more beneficial to hopefully the children they will have in the future and the man that they can walk through life with and who can lead them through life. I think there's nothing but good that can come when we actually start telling women the truth, because we have had women, to the detriment of their children and their husbands, to the detriment of society as a whole, we have told women a whole bunch of lies about who they are and what their limitations are. And we've got to stop doing that. It's a mean in a generous interpretation. It's evil in a sinister interpretation. And thank
Wow,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure
Thank
that
you,
you have
Celeste.
the mods have already dropped all the links to all of my guests in the chat. So please make sure you check out everybody's links there. Carrie, you want to finish? You want to give us your outro? The question is on the screen.
Sure. So, what do young women need to know about coming out of feminism? What do you wish someone would have told you? Well, if you're coming out of decades in it, if you've grown up in the world, first of all, I think we all need Jesus. I know I sound like that cheesy old lady. I never thought I
Be
would be this
cheesy.
person. I
Keep
never
it
thought I
cheesy.
would be a
That's
Christian,
much.
but
Mhm.
Jesus is the cure to almost everything. I have definitely
Everything.
become that woman who's like, oh, that person needs Jesus. If they only knew, not
Yes.
not in a judgmental way, like
Mhm.
you're terrible, but in a, if you
Mhm.
like, you're in the desert and you're thirsty, and I know where the water is, and
Right.
I found the water. It's over here, that kind of thing. And so, unlearning all of the worldly religion you were raised in, that I was raised in, sometimes takes a while if you were really fully in the world like I was.
Mhm.
And give yourself patience as you're like walking out of that and
Mhm.
figuring things out, and figuring out, what does it mean to let the man lead? How do we do that? Like, what is, like, what does it mean for us to for him to love me, to love the wife like the church? Like, understanding what all these things mean takes time. And you don't have to sign up for any kind of self-help thing or whatever. I mean, you can if you want to, but the Bible is free. And you can find a church, you
Love
can
it.
find a Bible believing church with a pastor and elders who love you and who love you
Yes.
enough to correct you, and who you can go to when you have any of these big picture questions about life. And yeah, I guess the last thing I would say is what I said earlier, which is that it was one of the biggest discoveries of my life. And I know lots of other people discovered this too, but the Bible's not some list of authoritarian restrictions on your freedom meant to, harsh your fun. It's actually this loving guidelines and boundaries set by
Yes.
a loving
Yes.
creator who wants you
Yes.
to have the most thriving life possible. That's why those guidelines are there. So there you
I
go.
love
Amen.
it.
I love
I love
that,
it.
Carrie. Thank you so much for saying all of that.
Thank you. I had so much fun meeting you. I'm gonna
I
drop
love
off
meeting
too.
you.
All right. There we
I
go.
already followed you and
Good night.
subscribed.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, Carrie. Thank you so much. All right,
What
Edie,
an
finish us
excellent
up here. So the
panel.
question was, what do you think? What do you think young women need to know about coming out of feminism, and what would you wish someone would have told you?
Well, I would like for the women to know that the enemy will try to whisper in your ear after coming out of that you've made too many mistakes and maybe you're too old to find happiness or find a man. Those are all lies straight from the pits of hell. Okay. God can restore all that the locusts took. He can turn anything around, and he'll turn that around for you as well. It's not all a loss. There are good men in this world. There are good men. The lies that people have fed us, that men aren't worth anything, they only want one thing, and that is all a lie. There are good men in this world, and there's one for you. And if you have any, if you want to talk to me about anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I hate it when women say, well, I've done XYZ all my life, and I've had these beliefs, and I've done horrible things. We're all filthy, wretched sinners in need of a savior. We all do horrible things. But you're not too far gone. No one is too far gone. And there are good things in place for you. And there are good things out there for you. And the main one is Jesus Christ. And he loves you. To piggyback on what Carrie said about the Bible, and a lot of people say it's an antiquated book and it was written by men for men to dominate and blah, 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 blah. No. If you only knew what scripture says about women and our roles in this world, it's phenomenal. It's so beautiful. And God loves women. The way he talks about women in his word, it's something I was blown away when I read it, with the, spiritual eyes to see and a mind to understand. And you're worth so much more, and the Lord loves you. And if you're coming out of feminism, just know that you're not alone. And I don't know what I'm trying to help me wrap it up, Jason. I have trouble.
No. You're not alone.
I'm
And
just
I
going
think
to keep talking. No, I'm just kidding.
Jessica. No, I love it.
How am I going to wrap it up?
Well, thank you so much, friend. I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. We're going to do this more often. I think I'm going to do a little poll and see what the audience thinks about these type of discussions where we're just having, again, when I talk about, we're talking about something specific and such of that nature. What is the overall consensus? I think the general consensus is going to be well approved, but I'll ask them. I'll ask them. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I know it was kind of long. It's a little bit longer than we anticipated, but that was a really good conversation.
Non sequiturs and my inability to speak at 10 o'clock at night. I love you so much, Jason. By the way, if anyone says anything bad about Jason, just know I don't like you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
I'm leaving now. How do I get
out of here?
Okay, bye.
Get out of here. See you later. Thanks, friend. All right, so that was my panel. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. I do want to say thank you also, not only to the panelists, but to the great live chat. I was watching the conversations going on. Fantastic. I know, I think Edie was dual streaming this. I believe Quisha was dual streaming this. Shout out to all the guests that stopped by, whatever. I'm going to start over again. Shout out to everybody who stopped by wherever they were coming from. We appreciate you. You're part of the best live chat on the internet now, for sure. So thank you so much. I'll probably put a community post up and just ask, the general question, do you like this type of format? There was a request that we do more panel discussions and such of that nature. So this is kind of what I wanted to have happen, where, again, maybe it's not all me just talking. Maybe it's just a bunch of guests talking and giving you an opportunity to hear their thoughts on it. So I want to hear what your thoughts are. So I'll put a community post up on that for sure and get your 2 cents. But let me go ahead and say thank you again to MT for this. I love to see this. We have to back in later. Thank you so much for the 2. I appreciate MT has been a fantastic supporter of the channel. Thank you very much for that. Greg right here, no question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so much for the very kind 10 right there, Greg. Thank you so much. What do we have here? Kathleen says this with a 2. Edie, thank you for sharing, praying for God's peace. Thank you so much for that. It was a great panel. I really enjoyed that. And I'm looking forward to doing that again. Now, again, our sister Amethyst Angel with the 10. What does she say? Greek. And she's saying the Greek translation. Submission is a military term. 2 platoons, 1 common enemy. 2 equally qualified generals, 1 submitted to the other even though they're equally qualified. 2 platoons fought as 1. Shout out for sure. Thank you so much for that. Amethyst, I appreciate you, sister. And then we got my brother ARP in the building. He came through. He said, shout out to the panel. Is that not what women ask for? Men have capitulated to a demonic feminist mindset. Thank you for the 10 ARP. I don't know if he's still in the chat. I know tomorrow over on A Righteous Perspective, they're going to be doing a great panel. It's called the Wednesday Night Late Night Crew, I believe it is. I might be over there. We'll see if I got time. I believe I will. I'm going to come in there and we'll see what they're going to be doing. It's going to be late, though. It's like 9 o'clock. Shout out for sure. All right, what do we have here? And then, of course, he also dropped another one for the algorithm. God bless you all. Thank you so much, ARP. I appreciate you, brother. Fantastic support and excellent content creator. And my sister Amethyst says this: he that finds a wife, not she that finds a husband. Thank you for the 2 and for reminding us that we got to stick to what the scriptures say. So thank y'all again, everybody, for hanging out with us. I know it was a little long, but I think it was well worth it. And I'm going to definitely put up a community post and kind of see what you all thought about it, and see if you have some other topics. I have a lot of other possible guests and such of that nature. So I definitely would love to hear what you all think about it. Shout out to We Watch YouTube is the one that asked that great question that everybody answered. Shout out to you for sure. Thank you. I can just do it real quick. If you want us to do more panels over here, it'd be real scientific. If you want us to do more panels, green hearts in the chat if you think we should do more of those. Let's see how that works out. We don't have to do a community post, Jason. We'll just do a panel right here. We'll do a poll right here. We'll look at it and see what it looks like. I feel like overwhelming. Those green hearts are going to come flying through here. There we go. All right. I feel like, yeah, that's what I thought. I love it. I'm glad that you got to meet Celeste. I love Celeste. I've been on panels with her before, and I've talked to her before. Excellent content creator. All of them were excellent. And I'm really looking forward to having them come back through again. Thank you so much. Okay. I take it. I see what you're saying. We listen over here. So I see, I think it's fair to say that they like the panel, Jason. I think we should do it again. Oh, hold on, while I'm talking to myself. Somebody told me they don't like my side camera. All right, so I'm gonna pull it. I think they like the panel, Jason, so I think we should do it again. I agree. Let's do it again. All right, so we'll run it again real soon. I'll let y'all know ahead of time now. Make sure you're well aware of when we're doing it so you can tap in. I do want to say this last thing. This is housekeeping now. This is totally housekeeping. If you're not getting notifications from your favorite content creators, try this. Try unsubscribing from your content creator of choice and logging back into YouTube and then resubscribing to them. That's the only thing I've heard people saying that they found success in that. That when they unsubscribed, logged off of YouTube, logged back into YouTube, and then resubscribed. Some people have mentioned that they found success in that. I really don't know what YouTube is doing. They like playing with people's emotions, sometimes giving them notifications, sometimes not. When you do when you do subscribe, make sure you hit the bell notification, all that kind of good stuff like that. If you haven't already subscribed, your boy's trying to get 100,000 subscribers by his birthday, middle of April. Help a brother out. We already hanging out together. We already been hanging out this long. You might as well just go ahead and hit the like button. You might as well go ahead and subscribe. Come on. Go ahead and do it. Everybody, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I'll make sure that down in the pinned comments, I have all of the guests that were here, so you can make sure you check out their channels if you didn't get a chance to check out Celeste or Carrie's, Quisha's, or Edie's channels. I'll make sure you have a chance to do that as well. I'm just messing around with this camera because I don't use it that much. But thank y'all so much, everybody. I am going to bug out of here because it's been a long day. So I like how S-File said it. Everybody have a fantastic night. Green hearts on the way out the door. I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the J-Whip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.